What's up, everybody? This is TEKNOBLAST from Technos Gaming. We got SIKSLAYER here, and we got Ghost Realist somewhere. He's out there in the world. He'll make it here, hopefully. And we got special guest, Soleb from Second Opinion here. And say hi, everybody.
What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? So Soleb is a guy I met a few years ago at a QuakeCon event. And we stayed in touch since then, and it's good to have him here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Not much an agenda since you're new here, you're a guest here, and you know we just kind of flow off of each other. The two main things I want to talk about is Palworld. I don't know if you got a chance to play it. I don't know if Sik got a chance. Not my type of game, but somehow I'm addicted to it. I can't stop playing it. Right.
Wow.
I've been playing it a few hours every single day since it came out last Friday. Right.
Jeez.
And then
Played a little bit of it on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then supposedly the developers are getting some death threats because of this. It's only on Xbox and PC, which is crazy. Right.
You know, the death threat thing, common thing nowadays.
It's a common thing. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. And then the big news today with Microsoft laying out an additional 1,900 people across the board. But you know, they're not the only ones. So it's just a lot of focus always on Xbox, but who knows? I mean, with the acquisitions, you kind of expect it because I've been through it before where, you know, my company were bought and I got laid off or, you know, whatever happens with other people. It sucks, but you kind of understand it. I mean, it just kind of comes with the whole territory of acquisitions.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The only and this sounds lame, it really does, right? But the only positive thing you could say about, you know, all the layoffs, the 1,900 layoffs, is that it did it after the holiday season. You know, you know, like that wouldn't have been a good time to dump all those people. So it is.
Yeah, I mean, are you saying it's better after or during the holidays?
It's better after the holidays.
Oh yeah, definitely. No. I mean, if it was during, dude, that would
totally suck.
That would suck big.
Well,
time.
I'll say this in that perspective. So, like, of course, it always sucks anytime they lay off. Anytime stuff like this is laid off, not a question. Anytime, and the biggest thing is this is not the first time that we've seen this happen. Of course, in the games industry over the last like 6 to 12 months, there's been like a total of like 22,000 layoffs. So it's not just Xbox. It sucks because we know as gamers that Phil Spencer and Microsoft are going to take Activision in a really good way whenever it comes down to management style and leading and so on and so forth. Yeah. But it does also suck for those people that work at, you know, Activision Blizzard. I saw some devs today talking about on Twitter and on social media that had posted, you know, really sucks. Actually, a friend of mine posted on Facebook today saying that it really that him and his team were affected by the layoffs. And one of them literally this morning when they received the notification that they were getting laid off, his wife just gave birth.
Oh, wow.
Somebody else had just moved out to the area and within the same week had just got there to Activision and just got a lease on their house and all this other stuff. And so it really, really, really sucks. I don't think it's fair to say to chastise Phil Spencer and say, oh, well, Phil's the devil now because he let these people go. Because in that perspective, you know, we all know in the same mindset of things that the big dogs are the ones that are always going to think about what's better for the big dog compared to what's better for the small dog. So that's just how things are. It's not just in the games industry. It's in the tech industry right now too. The tech industry is just horrible. There's layoffs constantly. So it really, really sucks. And it really sucks as well because I feel like it is not something that Phil Spencer definitely wanted to do right off the bat after the acquisition. You know, he
No
even
way.
stated it before. It was an extremely painful thing that he had to do. Now I can understand some of the people out there that are totally upset about it.
Well, the only thing they see is like they make so much money. How can they not afford this?
Right.
Well, I mean, and I say that in that perspective about every company. You know what I'm saying? Like I say that whenever it comes down to like Sony doing layoffs, whenever it comes down to Microsoft, whenever it comes down to Nintendo, it don't matter the thing. The amount of money that Activision Blizzard has profited and brought in over the last, physical year. It is hard to look at that and say, well, how the hell did the previous CEO of Activision, how was he able to get out of the company with the deal that he did with, and I'm talking about millions upon millions of dollars. How could that be worked out? But you couldn't have worked it out in the perspective of these people that keeping their jobs. But we're not the number crunchers. We're not the people that see every aspect of the stuff behind the scenes.
Right.
But then you do have people like Jason Schreier that get on Twitter and say it feels particularly cruel seeing or hearing from people who just a few months ago were expressing delight and optimism about Phil Spencer and their new corporate owner today, saying that they were laid off as well. So it is it's a really touchy thing. You know what I'm saying? It always is. So we're just people from the outside looking in. I do hate the fact though that a lot of people take this chance to use it and run with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the fact that I'm just a gamer, bro. Like I got a bunch of God of War shit back there, but right up here I got my boy. It don't matter. Xbox, PC, PlayStation, Nintendo. I love everything, but it does irritate me. Like I am not that type of gamer especially that I used to be. Let's say that, because back in the day when Sony was bringing out the PS3, I was like, man, can we curse?
Go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Back in the day, I was, when I was a big Sony fan, I was like, fuck Xbox, man. This shit, this console ain't shit compared to the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
But then, at the same exact time that when they're showing off the PlayStation 3, I'm all jazzed up about it, and they're showing a demo of a dude using a controller to go like this and move around fucking rubber duckies in a tub. And like,
I remember that. Yeah.
Why am I excited about this, bro? Like, I don't understand. But I think the biggest thing is like people use this type of stuff as ammunition. So a lot of these gamers out there are like, oh, well, all these people are talking about Xbox now and, blah, 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 blah. Look at him now. Look at Phil. He said he was going to take care of these people and he let them go. Listen, dude, like, I hate saying it, but business is business. That's also the reason why
it's all these business analysts sitting on the couch. They know better, Yeah,
exactly.
It's like the same thing that Jason Schreier was saying, like when you was reading his quote, right, on what he said on Twitter. It's like you could smell, you could hear, like the sarcasm and those extra words he had to put into describe, Phil Spencer and what he did, but this was seen coming a mile away, long before the purchase was.
Well, I think they announced it was like a 10,000 person layoff plan, wasn't there, as of last year?
Yeah,
and this is just part of it.
Yeah, there was gonna be a shakeup, and I know this from some friends of mine that I've talked to before in the industry, like when the acquisition happened. And Xbox, of course, took over in those still early day talks. They had talked about one of the biggest things was the poor management at Activision.
Yes,
they talked about the workplace management, the way people were getting treated, or the way this or that or whatever else. So, like, I knew it out. I don't have to see paper. I don't have to see the stuff on a website to realize, like I knew it right out the bat. I'm like, bro, Microsoft's gonna fuck Activision up, bro. They're gonna come in and swing that hammer and be like, hey, bro, this shit ain't happening at Microsoft. So it does suck to see really good people that have worked really hard to get to the point where they are. I know they did say that they're The one thing that was heavily affected was like third-party customer service. It's not going to be done by the same company anymore. They're going to outsource it to a different company. And then a lot of people in community management lost their jobs. So that really, it really sucks when I've seen a good friend of mine, Liana Ropert, who was a community manager for Destiny, actually, and worked at Bungie. She's one of the, I'm telling you, listen, one of the best people you'd ever meet in your entire life. Like, great writer. She's a fantastic person in the games community, and she lost her job whenever Sony did their layoffs through Bungie. And dude, I hated seeing it happen to her, but I can only hope the best. I can only hope that like she's going to eventually get another community manager job or something like that somewhere. But it does happen. It really does, and it sucks, man.
When you think about it too, there's a lot of positions that are for lack of a better term, redundant, right? Like a community manager, like they have their own, right? Like even the developer directs you've seen out of Microsoft lately, because they got some folks from IGN and others, they put a new group together, and like the format they have there has been pretty successful, they're moving forward with that. So whoever was involved beforehand isn't involved in what they're doing currently. So they're probably not working there. Like, and you were saying, customer support. Activision had a company they were working with. Well, Microsoft is going to use a different one, and it's probably one that they're already familiar with and already are using. So this is why they make this move, right?
Yeah, it had to do. I know they said a lot of the layoffs, it did have to do with overlay. So it was like a lot of these people that got laid off, as bad as it sucked, it was also because the positions that they were kind of bleeding into were pretty much already filled.
Exactly.
So, and that man, it happens, bro. It happens. I've seen people working in the grocery industry that ended up getting bought out by a company I used to work for. And whenever that company was bought out, everybody was like, "Oh man, this is going to be awesome for our company." And then half those people that their company was bought out, they lost their jobs, and that's it sucks, man. But what were you going to say, Techno? I didn't want to interrupt you.
No. I remember when I first moved here in 2009, maybe a couple years later, it was my first job here to Dallas, and it was for a company downtown. And out of nowhere, on a Friday, 2 weeks after I closed on the house that I'm in right now, I get laid off.
Wow.
Right. I get laid off. Dude, it hit me like, what the hell happened? Right. Yeah. Just like, you say about your buddies and, everybody that's experiencing this right now, it hits you like a ton of bricks, man. It's like at some, like, I know I did. I don't know about other people. I know some people have more confidence that, I'll find something soon. Right. Me, it just hit me it made me feel like a failure at some point. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because I thought everything was going great. Everything was good. We got the house now. It's like, oh, everything's just lining up really perfect. And then boom, laid off. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. And so, I came back home, just kind of really down. Wife said, don't worry about it. We'll get through this. We got this. It's like, all right. Dude, that same day, I just started putting just resumes like crazy, just answering job ads or whatever I could to get something going, to get my resume out there. Kid you not, this happened on a Friday. That Saturday, I was already getting interviews.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, I started a new job.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like, it feels like crap, feels like shit at the very beginning. But
it's awful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. But
we can only hope. We can only hope that these people have that same exact thing, because I was looking, scrolling or whatever today, and it was irritating me, of course, seeing some of these people I don't like it whenever I see it. It doesn't matter if it's coming from Xbox fans or if it's coming from PlayStation fans. I don't like seeing it's one thing to have fun kind of shit talking. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna I'm down for it. If you want to shit talk, let's shit talk. That's fine. But when people are just saying shit just to get a rise
For the
out of
sake, just to
people.
get the sake of it and just roll it up.
Yeah, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and all these people commenting on there saying that type of stuff, saying like, well, they should have. We've known, and they should have known that this was going to happen. I really feel bad for the devs. I just can't believe Microsoft did something like this. And
Yeah.
it sucks that Microsoft is the one that's like the main focus of like, well, now they're the evil company. But it was either, if it wasn't Microsoft that bought Activision and Blizzard out and it was someone else that did it, it would have been, I hate saying it, but it would have been the same way. Their previous CEO, the way he ran that company is just, it's crazy to me. And people can say what they want to, but I used to do a lot of stuff with Activision. I work at Cinelinks.com now, and I've had amazing opportunities and checking out some of these badass things. Like in 2018, we got to sit down and we were the first people in the United States of America to actually sit down and watch full length gameplay of Modern Warfare, right whenever it was coming out. And it was like, this was during E3. We were sitting in there with the Activision devs. We sat down and played Call of Duty Mobile with the devs for like 2 hours. And it was just a really great experience. Even sitting down with the team behind Crash Team Racing. We sat down and played Crash Team Racing for a long time. We had this badass, like really cool thing set up with the devs. And I mean, it was such a communicative thing. And then when all this really bad toxic stuff came out about Activision and the way that the company was being run, we decided at that time, we were like, hey, we're not covering Activision products anymore. So my boss was like, we're not doing it. We're not reviewing their games anymore. And we ended up getting blacklisted for doing
wow.
it.
So it happens so easily too.
Yeah, exactly. So we got blacklisted for it. And then some other stuff has happened since then to where it's like, there's been this kind of back and forth. But it was only when certain people were at the company, and they're not there now. And I can only hope that that Activision is going to be like a clear line development studio now, bro. Like, and I'm so excited for the people that did not lose their jobs, but I'm also so excited for the people that did lose their jobs, because in that perspective, I really think the people that did lose their jobs are extremely talented and will find other work. I hate that it's happened to them. But I can only hope the best for him, bro.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox. Okay. Thank you.
What's up, realist? He made it in finally.
Cool.
Yeah,
You didn't see him?
You're gonna make fun of me, right? Look,
Yeah, we got to, man. We got to.
hey, I don't know. I was so sleepy today.
Oh yeah.
Is it raining up there?
No,
It's raining around here.
it stopped.
It's been raining here for
This guy.
a couple
He's
days.
talking about Pete. There's a huge distance between Texas.
But
And
it's
P-
been raining a lot for a while, countrywide, frankly.
But like,
Yeah.
Tech, it's been raining like 2 days straight.
Yeah.
Mom's been saying,
So,
and I'm heading down
it
there
was-
tomorrow.
It was great sleeper weather, and I went to sleep at 1 o'clock. I figured I'll be good up for a show.
Where are you at, realist?
Houston, basically.
Houston, yeah. I'm in East Texas, and it's been raining here for like 3 days straight,
Right.
bro. It's
Okay,
like-
you're closer. I guess you're what? Okay.
I'm like in between.
Yeah, he's
so
in
like
the
I
middle.
live in Palestine, Texas. So it's
Okay,
like,
so
it takes about 2 hours to get either to Dallas or to Houston. So
you're from what AD is from there. So like,
yep, I went to school with AD. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're-
Adrian Peterson.
Oh, so yeah, old geezer too. Okay, so
I am.
but man, it was great sleeper weather, and man,
Yeah,
I woke up at 6:55.
Did
But
you?
For some reason, Twitter wouldn't open on my PC. It
Oh.
kept opening Edge instead of like the app. So I said, well, let me get through the app. And then I had to go find my authenticator. But with all this stuff, right, we don't even know exactly who was let go.
Yeah.
Because like you got a lot of people, they just automatically go to the devs. Oh, Microsoft is the largest company in the world, and they're letting people go, but that's why, right? They're gonna trim the fat. Like whether we appreciate it or not, whether we understand it or not, whether we like it or not, But my problem with the gaming community is we automatically assume that it's all the developers.
Yeah.
It's all developers, and it's all developers who are needed, right? This could be a byproduct of the adoption of AI, right? AI may have helped them trim some people off. This is what people have been afraid of. But look, a lot of people lose jobs, like you, Tech, right?
Yep.
You are a normal guy. We're all normal people. None of us are super rich. Mike Ibarra will land on his feet. He's already rich. He's the only guy that we know for a fact is gone, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like everybody else, we're just assuming we're talking junk. But that's the reason why Microsoft is one of the most valuable companies. The only reason why we don't care about Apple's layoffs is because we just use the phones. We're not looking at them for our video games. So that's the thing I don't like about it. That's the only thing. It's just like layoffs are a part of business. All businesses are going to lay off, especially after a merger. We don't know if they're redundant positions. We don't know what they are.
Right.
My thing is like, I thought Ibarra would be the guy to stay.
Yeah, that's what, I was going to ask that because it just he was with Microsoft, for 20 something years. He left to go to Blizzard, and then he came back because of the acquisition, and now he's gone. So does he have beef with somebody back at Microsoft?
Well,
Just doesn't want to stay there.
See, this is my thing, man. At first, I thought, we talk a lot of junk. But Soleb says, like, you want to talk junk, we talk junk. And I was like, years ago, I said, man, Ibarra's a plant. Microsoft is going to buy Activision, right? And then now it's like Booty said he was really not one of us. He left and now he's back. What do? We trust this guy? Does he really care more about us? Kind of like how Pete Hines, right? Are we surprised that Pete Hines left? Right? He was the guy that was sorry that we couldn't make PlayStation games. Like, why did Ibarra leave Xbox in the first place or Microsoft in the first place?
Well, I'll say this, knowing Pete personally, I think Pete Hines had already planned on leaving. Pete Hines had been working for Bethesda for 27, 28 years or something like that.
Long time.
For a really long time. And all the years that I've known him and stuff like that, I think he had possibly already been thinking about leaving anyways. So after that transition of Microsoft, getting Bethesda and all this other stuff, and then Starfield finally launching, which, he was, helping focus on as well. It was kind of that point to where he was like, all right, it's a good time for me to, move on and try to do other things and whatever else. So, Techno knows this too. Like, Pete is one of those guys that, like, at every single QuakeCon, he would be the guy that would be literally sitting in the BYOC playing games, playing board games, card games with everybody. He was just as much as a gamer as anybody else. But with the perspectives of what you were saying, that, I think I just know, I just know that with Bobby Notch not being in Activision anymore, and this happening how it did, I think from this point on, it's just going to be nothing but, to sky's the limit type stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because it's like you know him personally and everything, but who's been there longer than Todd Howard?
Well, Pete, I think Pete and him have both been there about the same amount of time.
Yeah. So what is he going to do? Like, look, really, to me, the only thing that's important is that they continue to make good products.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Because none of them are my friends. Like, I like Todd Howard. I think his leather bombers are cool. I like Pete Hines. I like the way he presented himself. The only one that I didn't like throughout all of this was Bobby Kotick, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I have daughters, and I have sisters, sisters. Yeah, got two sisters. And so
you got to think about that one.
Right.
Because the thing is, like,
please tell me how you really feel about Bobby Kotick, because I want to get into this, man, because like I can't
get him get him started.
No, the thing is, I feel like that's been running, but like, no, one of my sisters in North Carolina, and then the other one, her birthday was on the 23rd, and I wasted a lot of money trying to make her birthday great. Well, I did. I think I did make it great. I hope I did. And she thanked me a lot, so I'm assuming she was appreciative. But my other sister, I barely see her because she's in North Carolina still. But she's trying to get a job in Dallas. I told her why. Like, why Dallas?
Tech's over there. That's why.
Huh? No, she's not tech. She's going to be a child psychologist.
I said tech is over there. That's why.
She don't know you. She don't care about you. You married and you're old.
I am old.
Yeah, my sisters are 18 and 17 years old.
No, they're kids.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to be a Bobby.
But yeah, I don't really care to talk about Bobby much because we all know what he did. We all know it was unacceptable. And you had a lot of people over the course of the years since it's been in our knowledge, to go in on Bobby. He's gone. Let him go. Just and hopefully, he'll get some type of advisory role at another company, because whether we like him or not, he does know the business and he is an asset in that way. This is why, he'll be somewhere in the background doing his job. But when it comes to these layoffs, we got to stop. Well, we don't have to stop. I still consider it fake outrage because we don't know who was laid off or who was let go. Yeah. But it's just funny that on this day, Ibarra's gone too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, and Booty was the one that did most of the talking. Phil Spencer put out the note, about the support. And I listened to Destin until he said this. I cut him off. I was like, come on, man. He says
about the lawyer part. Tell me it was the lawyer part.
Not the lawyer part. He says we will provide severance in accordance with the state laws.
The state law, right? And
so it's like, I mean, that's a funny thing to say. And the thing about Destin is he looks like this innocent guy that couldn't possibly be a douche. But when you sit back and you think about it, you realize that these companies are in different states.
His douche level is over 9,000.
That these studios cross states and they won't all get the same severance packages. They all qualify for different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's just like, one person, could have had the same exact position, but depending on the state you live in, you might just be fucked.
Yeah.
Or are you going to be balling for the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Exactly. Destin was being like reading that, and he's like, well, that's pretty that's lawyer talk. Did you get that part?
Yep.
Yeah. I think, dude, as soon as he said, that's a funny way to say it. I just, because the thing is, I want to like him, but he always, his writer, journalist comes out at some point and it makes me realize that he's just like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a tough thing, really. I mean, whenever you're looking into all this other stuff, because me and Techno have known each other for quite some time, and I mean, I don't think I've ever given off elitist journalism vibes to Techno.
Kind of have just a little.
Yeah,
bit.
it's because of the Kratos painting behind.
The Kratos, you gotta take that.
No,
he's out of Kratos paint. Let me blow this thing up.
No, but I don't understand it, bro. I really don't, man. And a lot of people constantly, like I said before you got here, Realist. I mean, people they just use it. That's it. Yeah. They use it to stir the pot as much as they possibly can.
Just a talking point.
Yeah, just for talking points. It's not even the fact that they give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm bringing it up because I hate the fact that some of my friends like Dan, him and his whole team, lost their jobs today, and that it sucks. It does. But I feel for him, and I hope the best for him. I hope he finds other work. But I'm not going to sit here, like I said before, I'm not going to sit here and bash Phil Spencer and Microsoft as a company for doing what they do and what any other business would probably have done too, is say, hey, we just took in, did a $69 billion deal. And we, like what Rilla said, we got to trim the fat. Like it's, we spent a lot of money, and until we really get to the point of figuring out what we're going to do from this point, we've got to trim down fat. And if overlay happens, it happens. There's going to be jobs that are literally the same exact position at both of these different companies, and they're going to think, Do we really need 5 of these people? No, we don't need 5 of these people. We need to cut it down to 2. So it does suck. But I agree. I don't think it's something to dwell on. And I said the same exact thing. Though it really sucked when PlayStation did it at Bungie. It is something that, like, I remember originally PlayStation was like, oh, we're not going to let people go. I'm like,
yeah,
bullshit.
I remember that.
I'm like, yeah, come on, bro. Like, you're not going to let people go. Like, anytime an acquisition like this happens, people get let go, bro. Like, I remember back in the day, who was the number one company that would buy development studios and then let them go? EA.
EA.
EA would buy these companies, and then after one game, if it wasn't successful, it's like, well, we're sorry, but you got to shut you down.
But like a lot of these people, they just need to understand business. Like all of us are business majors on Twitter.
Yeah.
And there are people in these boardrooms that we made fun of Jim Ryan for being a numbers guy.
Yeah.
Right. But every corporation, every publicly traded company is the same.
Yeah.
There are people in these offices that want returns on investments, that want to see growth, right? And what's the easiest way to create growth? You cut back on salary, which is the largest expense for business.
Yeah.
That's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why they did it. It could be redundancy. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. We don't know every let go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be janitors for all we know.
Yeah.
Because it's across Bethesda, Microsoft, Xbox, and Activision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be some people that are just bad actors at Activision who are still riding and picking it when Microsoft said we're going to make you whole. It could be anybody. We don't know. So this is why I don't want to jump on the bandwagon of talking about Microsoft. There's a reason why they're worth $3 trillion, right? There's a reason why people are still investing, right? It's because of things like this, because they know how to manage the cap.
Yeah.
There's a reason why these companies these corporations, like a lot of people say, oh, these investors are going to pull out if Microsoft can't close it. No, these people are not. Right. These people are not you and I. These people are boards and chairs of major corporations, super rich billionaires who don't need money tomorrow. But they do want to see the company going in the right direction. And that's the easiest way to make growth. That's the easiest way to create more money, is to let go of people. And if they were, I hate to say it like this, but if they were viewed, I'm not going to say if they were assets, because they are in their own ways, but if they're viewed as assets, they would not be let go.
Yeah.
Just the way it works.
Yeah.
And I hate to see it, because I'm a human being. I'm a regular guy. And I know how fast a lot of people's lives can fall apart without the same money that they were making from their jobs. I hope that they all land on their feet. But if you look at the rate, because you brought up Sony, us as console warriors, we talk trash about Sony all the time. We talk about their situation. We're talking about how they're not selling enough of their games. We're talking about how they're not making enough money, how they're far behind when it comes to tech and keeping up with their major competitor in Microsoft. Layoffs make sense.
Yeah.
Right. We're laughing at them, how they're bringing out The Last of Us Part 2, Part 4. We're laughing at it because these are the things that they have to do as a company, right? They need more people to be at least aware of their games. They're going to keep re-releasing these games because they can't have Microsoft be the number one publisher on their platform.
Yeah. Well, I've said this about Sony for a while. I know Techno hates God of War, but I
just haven't gotten yet.
Listen, like some of these games that Sony comes out with that are first party studio games and stuff like that, I love them, bro. I do. Yeah. I think they're great games. As much as I love Microsoft first party games.
Hey, I'm playing Spider-Man too.
Yeah, hey, it's a good game, But I will say this, what Sony fails on is not noticing the elephant in the room. Okay. So Sony does not, I don't know why, but like I actually have a video in the works right now that I'm comparing Xbox and PlayStation's like streaming service. Okay. So PlayStation Plus, man, you get all these games, you get all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, awesome. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, look, if you subscribe to PlayStation Plus premium service, you can play all these great classic PlayStation 3 games and whatever. Can you download them to your console? Fucking no. You can't download them to your console. Why would we want you to download the shit that you're fucking paying for, yearly for a premium service? Why would we let you download it? Of course not. Why would we? What? Like, I mean, I've said it for years. Sony bought. I can't even remember the name of the company. It was like Tencent or something like that. It was the Chinese company that was heavily streaming based.
The Gaikai or no?
I think so, yeah, that's where they.
Did you say the one that Sony bought?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's Gaikai.
Yeah. Okay. So and then they push PlayStation Now for all this amount of time. I mean, millions and millions of like advertisements on PlayStation Now, PlayStation Now, PlayStation Now. Why did they invest the money that they invested into PlayStation Now? Why did they invest it into Now, even with PlayStation Plus Premium, and have these abilities to where you're like, oh yeah, you can do cloud gaming. Oh, you can play PlayStation Plus on your PC. Yes, and it works great. I got fiber internet. It works awesome. Works with no issue. But what the fuck? Like, I can't. You're telling me I can't do the same shit that I do on my Xbox and go in there and get a game like Infamous from the PlayStation 3 era and download it on my console? Like, I can't download it. Like, there's a lot of, it may be a minuscule thing to a lot of people, but it is a really big deal.
It is.
There's a lot of people out there that don't, especially in Texas. Y'all know as well as I do, rural areas still have horrible internet coverage. So how are they, and throughout a lot of the United States, internet coverage is god awful. So like, how are they going to promote this to somebody and say, hey, we want you to buy our newest console. Where in the next by the year 2030, pretty much these consoles are going to be all digital. So we're still not going to let you download shit. Like, that's why Xbox is winning, bro. It don't matter if fucking Xbox doesn't come out with an exclusive for the next 10 years. It doesn't matter. Xbox formula is what wins. Plain and simple. I've said it countless times. Xbox Game Pass is what wins. And then you have people from Sony that try to say, well, it just doesn't work. They could be making this money. They could say they're making this money that they're making, but they're not making it from Xbox. They're making it from Microsoft as a whole. Yeah, okay, cool. But they're a tech company. So they could do whatever the fuck they want to. They're the big kid on the playground, bro, with the rich ass parents that are just like, here, just keep doing what you want. Like, that's how Microsoft is set up, and Sony doesn't have the financial backing that Microsoft has.
I've been trying. I didn't want.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, you're good. You're good. This is how we rock. This is how we rock. You were rolling. Look, there's something to Google standing with Sony during the Activision proceedings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see how much they're talking about cloud streaming. What if PlayStation sees themselves as the next Stadia? Because like on Twitter, I put, this is the future with a picture of Stadia's storefront, right?
Yeah.
Only Stadia won't be around to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because the difference between just streaming, right? The difference between streaming like Microsoft is doing it with Game Pass and what's the name of the other one? Nvidia is doing it. Like they subscribe, you subscribe to them because they have great streaming services. But what separated Stadia is they were a storefront. But PlayStation can't lose is their storefront supremacy. Yeah. So because you were buying games in Stadia, that was the problem. Most of the games they had, you had to buy them twice. You already owned.
Didn't you have to pay for their service and then buy the games on top of that?
No, you did not have to pay for the service, but you bought the games. The service was I forgot what it was called, but it gave you things like gold. It gave you free games every month. Yeah. But to actually play your games, you didn't have to pay. Okay. You had to pay for the dongle, and you had to pay for the the controller. But they were still a storefront. You had to buy the games. What if PlayStation sees themselves, or they have Google in their ear, telling them how to get it done the way that Stadia was set up? Because if you listen to the CEO, he's talking about streaming, right? He's talking about streaming me in the future. He's talking about not having all you can eat the way the Game Pass has it, because they're still looking at selling games. This is why I said, like, Xbox would love to tear down the console structure, but Nintendo is never going to play along because they're dominating in that, right?
That's true. Yeah.
They're selling their first party. PlayStation's having challenges selling their first party. at retail to make a profit on these games. Yeah, they can sell 20 million, but they're not selling them all at $70, $60.
No.
They're selling a lot of them at $9.99 and $19.99,
Mhm.
$29.99.
Yeah.
But let's just say that they see themselves as the Stadia successor, where they can create a platform where people are actually buying the games to stream the games. Like we know, and I'm pretty sure you know there's some places up there because you're in the mountains that have horrible internet.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
I
in the future,
recently got out of that.
but in the future, because if you guys remember, I don't know if you guys, because I'm a Bethesda dude.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Orion had some strong presentations with the performances they were able to get out of 25 megabits per second.
Mhm.
Like if there's any real truth, because I mean they were playing games like Doom with no stutter, on 25 megabits per second.
Yes, they were.
If they can do that. Most cell phones are hitting that. 90% of cell phones are hitting that, even in the worst areas. 25 megabits. That's next to nothing. If they can get that mastered, and if they got it mastered, I'm pretty sure Google is not too far behind or ahead. So I'm thinking that maybe PlayStation is seeing themselves as a Stadia successor because they're really hyping up streaming, and they know the consoles aren't the future.
Yeah,
not for them.
Yeah,
Nintendo is fine because they're going to dominate handhelds as they have for the past 30 years.
Well, and I think Microsoft knows this as well. That's the reason why Microsoft didn't buy Activision because of Call of Duty, bro. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, Microsoft did not buy Activision because, they got Call of Duty. They bought Activision because Activision as a whole, and they bought Activision because also when they bought Activision Blizzard, they also were able to get access to King, which is a huge mobile platform company. So, like, of course, like,
probably the biggest reason.
Yes,
no, that is the biggest reason.
Yep, that's what Phil Spencer said that years ago. He said he wanted not only did he want the Xbox brand everywhere, but he wanted Xbox to be a huge mobile player. That's it.
And do any of you guys play it?
Do what?
What's the name of it? Candy Crush?
Candy Crush? Yeah, bro. Like, I mean,
so imagine when you need more lives, instead of going to your teams, you get to watch a commercial, and the commercial's about Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, that's true. And what you're saying, the statements that you're saying is true. Because look, like, I don't care the console. I love Sony first party games. Like, I've had so much fun playing the first party games that they brought out over the last 2 years. Great first party games. But bro, I'm a huge Xbox fan too. And there's nothing that just like warms my gamer heart than getting on to Xbox Game Pass and just doing that scroll. Like, I love having people that come to my house that don't have an Xbox, and I'm trying to tell them, hey, bro, listen, you really need to get Xbox Game Pass if you're trying to get into games. Let me show you this. And I start doing that scroll, and they're like, what is this? I'm like, these are all games you can play day one on Game Pass. We're like, what? Like,
yeah,
it's a shocking thing.
So my son likes to play.
Yeah.
And I have both the Xbox and PlayStation. And I started explaining to him about the Game Pass, how it works, how you can all you can eat and everything, and kind of give him what's similar on the PlayStation and why it's not the same. Yeah. And he's 12 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, why doesn't everybody just get on Game Pass? Not that he's a fanboy or anything.
Yeah, but
he ran the numbers in his head. It's right. Dude, it's like you get more value out of here. Yeah.
I mean, think about like what your son just said, bro. Like it's a logical thinking. If you're a 12-year-old, okay, and this is my old school, GameStop, employee coming out. If I see a 12-year-old walk into the store, and he's like, man, I got a PS3 at the house and a Xbox One, and I don't know. I'm thinking about upgrading to a console. First thing, I'm like, hey, so what type of internet do you have? Like, you have good internet connection? Oh, I got great internet connection. Bam, right then and there. Xbox Series S. You need to get Game Pass. Get the expansion, the memory expansion for it, and then just have everything digital. Because even today they talked about how Microsoft, like, one of the things that is being said that was cut in these 1,900 jobs was a big section of their physical was a big section of like their physical labor, like the
Yeah,
company that makes their physical stuff. I've said this for years, bro. Microsoft, Sony, all these other people, they don't want to spend the money to make physical games anymore.
Nope.
We love having physical games. We love it because it's a collector's thing. It's like, oh yeah, I got a
Feels
physical
good.
copy of a game.
Yeah.
But it's going away, bro. I'm telling you, eventually these consoles are not even going to be the size that they are. They're going to be streaming directly. Xbox has already talked about this for like the last 4 years with Samsung.
Well, with the One S, remember?
Yes,
Even with the One S back then,
Yes.
they were guinea pigging everybody. Like,
yes,
try this out.
I mean, they talked about it with when they were pushing Xbox cloud streaming. Okay, they talked about all this. Had a huge presentation with Samsung, which is one of the biggest tech companies out there. Hey, listen, eventually these Samsung TVs are going to have Xbox apps, and you're going to be able to just, and then bam, just like this was like 2-3 months ago. They talked about that, like one of the big TVs is coming out from Samsung has an Xbox fucking Game Pass app.
And then you can just connect your controller to it, and you're like,
bro, like what kind of shit is that, bro?
Yeah,
like that's
crazy.
the type of stuff we're moving into.
Hell yeah,
man, it really is. But it is exciting to think about. The reason why there's pushback on it is just like the reason why there was pushback when these old fucking people back in the day saw kids liking comic books. They're like, that's the devil. We don't know anything better. Like it's hard
for Dungeons and Dragons or metal music. There's been so many examples,
bro. It's hard for us not to look at that and be like, holy shit, like that's going to be the new norm now. Like there's not going to be physical games. But what worries me is whenever you when you move into that realm, you have to think about, like, you have companies like Ubisoft that have made comments, like one of their
like, get comfortable.
Get comfortable. I talked about this on our last podcast on Second Opinion. I'm like, it's going to be really hard for you to tell people, hey, you don't own these games anymore. It's going to be really hard to say that. But that's where I think the realist was kind of chiming in on that. Like, Sony's going to take advantage of that. Like, yeah, Xbox is going to have this to where, like, you can pay for whatever. But I think Sony is going to say, hey, we can still give you the opportunity to own in your games. But it's just going to be digital.
Just like the whole it's like the whole DRM with Xbox One. It's like, this is how you share your game. Right?
Yeah. This is how you share.
Yeah. On that real quick. Like, because when you were talking about physical games, in fact, if you notice, there are publishers who focus on that exclusively now, right? For those people because those who are all concerned about physical media are a niche, right? Incredible niche. And the types of games they like oftentimes are met by the companies nowadays who are doing these releases, right? It's usually these indie games and stuff like that, right? Usually they'll wait until there's like development of the game is completely done, right? All the DLC, all the packages, like the development team has already moved on to something else, and there's no more updates. That's when they start making these discs. One of these companies is they just signed up a deal with Xbox. Now they're doing stuff strictly limited games, right?
Yeah. Strictly Limited is one of the big ones, and Limited Run is one of the big ones.
And Limited Run, that's the other one I was looking to remember. I couldn't remember. Yeah. And so for those people who are more concerned about that, I think these two and others are probably going to come around in the future. Who are going to focus on that for those people who want that. Because I don't think the systems are going to lose the disk drive, or at least they'll make a disk drive that's external. Maybe in the next generation they'll have it where it's external and it's an option you have to get it. It's not the default. It'll be on the deluxe version of the system. When you buy that launch, and eventually they might get rid of it or whatever like that. But it will be something slower like that, like gradual. And this is how it's been happening the whole time. So physical media, just like we talked about this before, but folks, sitting there complaining about DRM, and they always say, "Oh, what happens if I don't have internet?" Well, you usually don't have any electricity either, which is why you don't have it. Power. So why are you worried about playing video games on the internet? Like, you can't do both. It's kind of pretty. So what you worried about for it? It's
100%.
So where are you on the whole digital thing? Like, digital is the future, and the whole physical is dying. Solo.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to Sick. I'm sorry. I'm down for it, bro. Listen, I used to be a really big physical collector. Like in my office, I'll see if I can turn my camera, but like in my office, I have a huge, big collection of stuff. You can see my Bethesda stuff all over here, and all my stuff from my badges and all that other stuff from. That's like the badges. It's this thing in your head. It's like, oh, it's physical. Like it's hard not to have it in that mindset to where it's like, okay, this is part of my gamer world. But back in the day, it was easy to kind of get to that point and say that kind of get upset about it because, back in the day, you would think when they really kind of started to come out with like, okay, well, the collector's edition is, this collector's edition of the game is $249. And since it's not $299, the reason it's $249 is because it doesn't come with a disc. And I'm like, bro, you fucking tell me that disc is $50? Like, so it's hard not to, because you think about that. Like, okay, if these games are going to come out and they're going to come out with collector's editions, are we still going to be paying like these heavy ass prices? Yes, bro. Like, we're still going to be paying these heavy prices because this is the thing. It's just like these companies, kind of like what the realist said. These big companies have seen the traffic that companies like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Amazon, everything is moving to streaming, bro. Everything. Eventually, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy that runs the company, but like with Tesla is launching so many more of their satellites to push their streaming service or their internet service. It's crazy. My dad has Starlink. He lives about 15 miles outside of the town that I live in, and he lives on a private lake, and it's in the boondocks, bro. Like it's literally like
and how's that connectivity?
Bro, 500 megabyte download speed, 500 upload. Like so with Starlink, he has you got to think, okay, well, shit, in the next 20 years, is that just going to be a norm?
Yeah.
So why would these companies not do what they're doing? Why would they not get to the point of pushing more digital? I talked about this too on Second Opinion and said on Second Opinion, it's hard not to realize the world that we're moving into now. Go and if you don't have it on your phone, download the Netflix app on your phone, sign into it just like normal, and you're going to be surprised to see that not only does Netflix have their app the way they usually do to where you can just stream your stuff directly, but you can play all these games on it because Netflix has their own video game studio.
Yeah, they got their own little section.
Yeah, so they can download stuff. You literally, the Netflix special right now is that with you subscribing to the Netflix, I guess, I don't know. I didn't even realize that I had it, but like it's, the package that I subscribe to comes with the big Netflix special is that you can play Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the newest, updated versions on your phone. So it downloads directly to your phone now. And then it plays, and it's like console. Like it literally looks exactly like it did on console. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I didn't know that either.
Isn't that the Android versions of the game? Because like they've been having games, but they were like really like super basic games, and they went through PS2 and they went through the Play Store.
Yeah. So like what they do now is like they have some type of deal made that like. I don't know. Are you guys Android users or y'all iPhone users? Okay, so like, y'all know. I mean, we're knowledgeable people. Okay, compared to iPhone users. All right, I hate saying it, but like, we know the power of these Android devices, man. Like, I could play extremely high quality games on my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Like, I mean, it's some damn crazy quality, but. Yes, it's like it connects with, I don't know if it connects directly with the Play Store, but I know whenever you download it, it downloads it directly from the Netflix app. So there's got to be some type of connectivity, but it actually shows on there that it is like the Netflix version of that game. So
what I've seen, as far as I know, it's basically like they ported the games to Android and iOS, right?
Yeah.
So like that remastered version that they came out with that had all those issues early on, that's that's an example of a game I'm pretty sure use a lot of AI and stuff like to convert textures and stuff, and that's why it wasn't so great. Another really early example is Final Fantasy 14, the original version before they redid it into a Realm Reborn, because there was a lot of Chinese developers, so they had to spend a lot of time automating and use a lot of automation to try to translate the game, and a lot of translations weren't good. So, all this AI stuff, it used to be the word was called automation, and now it's AI. But back to the point that I'm making, basically, like, they've had it where these games, like, they sit there and they say, these are Android games and they remaster whatever, but they used to have like the PS2 versions on Android, right?
Oh yeah,
it was slightly a little different. And if you really care about the differences, I think Digital Foundry Retro did a whole video breaking that down, right?
Yeah.
But basically, what it is now, those versions, they have them on Android and iOS, so they're just running those versions. I'm pretty sure Netflix is just downloading those APKs and installing it, because basically it's its own app store. And that's what you're
exactly.
on. These phones are so powerful now that it's the real deal Holyfield display.
It's honestly, it's really crazy, because that's just what we're getting into. But like, back to what like Techno was saying too, like the presentation of digital media is something that we just have to, it's hard to get used to, but it's something that we have to get used to. Like it is bro, like I'm telling you, I think 20 years from now, we're all going to look back and be like, holy fuck. Like,
but
I don't remember. Much as I don't like it, like it's hard for me, because there's nothing better. And I know you guys know this. Like there was nothing better than back in the day being super fucking hyped for Halo 3. Going to that midnight release.
Yes.
And like everybody standing out there and having the
Dude, I went to
matches and
Super Smash Bros. Release.
Yeah.
On the Wii. And they were having tournaments at the local GameStop there.
Yes.
So
I ain't gonna lie. That's what keeps me with Nintendo, y'all. Like, I like going to stand, like, I haven't done it in a while, but what brought me back to the memories.
Old.
Well, I'm young in my heart, but look, so like when I saw that, because I pre-ordered my stuff from Best Buy for the most part, but I was out getting coffee, I think, for my daughter, and there's a GameStop right next to the Starbucks, and I saw like 6 people outside waiting for a game, waiting to see if they can get a game. I read the sign. The sign said exactly how many consoles they had, and I said 6 people. There's 10 consoles in there. I'll take whatever's left. And I'm just sitting in the line, nerding out with everybody, talking about the games that are coming, talking about the games that were announced. Like, that's what you got when you with that. But all I wanted to say was, like, with Solip, you said the key word. You said 20 years from now.
Yep.
They don't care about us right now.
No.
It's not that they don't care. They understand that we are leaving and there will be a changing of the guard. And then most of these kids are only looking to play 1 or 2 games. And for the most part, it's like Minecraft or Roblox.
Yeah.
So now is the time for them to start to program.
Exactly.
Now's the time, like us crying.
Are you talking about grooming?
If that's what you want to call it. I don't have a word. I don't have a problem with the word grooming. I have a problem with it when it's in the wrong context. But the thing is, it's like the kids coming, their kids, they're gonna get old and they're gonna be complaining about something different. This new breed, they're on Game Pass. They're playing these games. They're playing mostly games that they don't even own, like a what's the name of that game? The biggest one.
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah. They don't own Fortnite. They didn't pay for Fortnite.
Dude, I don't think my son has ever inserted a disc in this Xbox ever.
Yeah.
So like I said, he said the key words in 20 years from now. Like, so us crying about these games that are getting the physical runs are getting shorter and shorter. Best Buy has no physical games in my area. So like to be specific, because you asked me where I live in the Woodlands, which is technically Houston, but not really.
Hey, I love the Woodlands, bro. I worked at HEB in the Woodlands for a while. So.
Okay, so we're not in the Metroplex, right? So but it's like 5 minutes down the road. I'm in Houston. So go to Best Buy. It's all torn up. No physical, nothing. I thought it was just DVDs, right? No, there's no physical in the Best Buy.
Hey, listen,
I don't know if it's just mine or it's everyone's.
It's pretty much everywhere, and that's the reason I know, bro. I'm like, my wife thinks I'm a hoarder. but like every time I go to Walmart, I go to that front bin. I don't know if y'all ever go to Walmart much anymore, but like I go to my local Walmart and I go to this front bin, and they have like Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff stacked there.
Oh, like the $5 bin or
$5 a
something?
pop, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. I picked up like tons of Blu-rays the other day that were like collector's edition Blu-rays and stuff at $5 pop. I'm like, well, I'm buying that. But like that's like this, bro. This is my original God of War 2 from launch.
Better
And
hold
I
on
like
that PS2.
yes, bro. Still got that physical disc, you know, and it's just like you look at it and you're like, man, it's awesome. But
Yeah.
you know, it's like what Realist said, you know, like they're I mean, these people know what the fuck they're doing, bro. Like they're these executives that are like, all right, listen, you know, we've talked to these guys and they think that this technology is going to be pretty much the mainstay in the next like 10 years. So we need to get everything set and prepped over the next 10 to 15 years. We need to get it to the point, just like what this comment says, bro. Physical media died back in 2013.
And you know what? He's not lying, because back then when the Xbox One was in the talks right before it launched, I started buying a lot of digital games in the 360 at the end of the 360.
Yeah.
I started buying tons of digital games, right?
Yeah.
And then 2013 came around, and sure enough, you know, with the whole DRM debacle and people were getting all pissed off and everything, I still continue to buy digital games. And I still buy some physical ones just because they're on sale, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, but that's what I do now, bro. Like of course I have the ability of like reviewing these games that I review, and I get the free codes, you know. That's all. Of course, that's nice for what I get to do. But like most of the times, bro, how can you not buy digital? I mean, bro, like some of these games that you don't even plan on playing, Xbox and Sony and Nintendo will have these, you know, random sales on or whatever else. So you go in, you're like, damn, I just bought 30 games for fucking $30.
Just because it was a good deal.
Now, I don't remember the outrage that we've seen now about games going digital when it came to music and movies, because it seems like everybody embraced like the digital thing with music and movies.
You know why? Because it was a cool new toy to usher in the era.
Yeah. I don't even think it was so much that, and it wasn't so much that it didn't happen. It was that
people were ripping music to have it digital in their little.
They were doing, the situation was different, and it's not like people weren't complaining about it. Like there weren't people who were complaining about bemoaning the loss of physical media, but it was a
the artists were complaining because they were losing money, you know?
Right? But that's
and nobody was protecting the artists.
Thanks a lot, Metallica, for ruining my Napster.
Thank you. Right. It was basically because it was a different time and a different internet and a different situation at the time where the population was doing it themselves anyway, and the industry was forced into it because they didn't want to do any of that at all. Where MP3s were new and it was a college only thing, and Winamp was still like in beta, right? Like, you know, college campus networks, which were a new thing even then, were being flooded with people just trading MP3s all day, and that's when the industry first had gotten a whiff of it. So they tried to fight it this whole time. Don't forget, it was Apple who finally forced the industry to try to support it with a music store.
But you said that had nothing to do with it.
But it didn't happen in that way. It
wasn't company first and then customers. It was
the thieves like myself back in those days.
Right. It was the people first, and
because the average person didn't know.
The industry into it, right? But with gaming, it's very different, right? And now it's like, you know, the nature of the internet, where it's this amplification of like the fringe element, right? The fringe idea instead of the majority, because the majority already agrees. So they're not going to complain or talk about it at all. They're just moving in direction. So all you hear is the opposing voices, because those are the only voices who are speaking out about it at all. No one else cares.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's just like what he said, bro. Like, you know, I remember the day that Steve Jobs was doing his presentation of the first iPod and was like, you can hold up to 1,000 songs on here. And everybody just lost their shit. They were like,
yep.
How would you even do that? You know, how would you do that? Oh my God. You know, and that was the thing, bro. Like it was, you know, I remember when Napster, like everybody used Napster.
I used it, yeah.
Bro, I used the shit out of Napster.
Okay, so I'm glad somebody else stood up.
Yeah, I used Napster. I used what was
LimeWire.
LimeWire, yeah. I used LimeWire.
Yep.
And supposedly they're coming back. I don't know how they're.
Yeah,
You've been trying to come back since they got gone.
I mean, you remember the relaunch of Napster? They were like, "We're a subscription service now." You're like, "Nah, bro, we're good.
We're past that."
yeah, we're past it. But you know, but at that time when it's like what y'all were saying, you know, at that time when Napster and all this stuff was coming up and digital media was starting to be a big thing, like it was a gray area, bro. Like the only big band out there that was making us think about it was Metallica. Metallica was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, we're not getting paid for this, and these people are just downloading and ripping our fucking music, you know. So but that's whenever you know, we have to think about it like this. Like with that, it's hard for me because I'm just I can't help but like collect that type of stuff. Like when I see, it's hard for me, like when I see a collector's edition that comes out. Like I remember when Battlefield did it and everybody gave this big ass fucking stink. They were like, you know, Battlefield and Call of Duty actually came out with collector's editions that were not coming with physical copies of the games. No, like they weren't coming with like, and then Battlefield actually had a collector's edition and it didn't come with the game at all. It was just a fucking like a statue and a book. You're like, damn, that shit's like $199. Like, and it doesn't even come with the game.
I remember when Titanfall released, and they had that big statue edition, right?
Of the mech, yeah,
of the mech. And I was like, "Ooh, I want that!" And it was like $300 or something. I'm like, "Nah, I'm not." Out of nowhere, Best Buy had it on clearance, right? It was down to $100.
Yeah.
Right. I ordered it online. It was it was fine. I ordered online, had it shipped to store, right? Shipped to store. They notified me like, "Hey, your thing is here." It's like, sweet. Boom. 5 minutes from my house. No problem. So went over there, went to the front desk and said, "Hey man, here's my receipt. Yada, yada, yada. Here's my ID. Where's the box?" I'm expecting this medium-sized box, and that was it. They come out. Well, first of all, they couldn't find crap, right? They couldn't find it. Like, we don't have it. And it's like, it says right here. It's right. It's here. It's all right. It's ready for pickup. It's ready for pickup and everything. I was like, cool. And so they had me waiting for like minutes, and they couldn't find it. Finally, they did. And because I waited for 30 minutes, they knocked down on like another 20 or $30.
Nice.
Because they had me waiting. So yeah, it's been in back the whole time. But get this, when they came out with it, they had to bring it on a dolly.
What?
That's how big the box was. The box itself. Okay.
When they still had some.
So it's like they had to bring it on a dolly on this little wagon thing. And I'm like, holy cow, that thing's huge. It's like, I don't think it's going to fit in my hatchback. Right. Because I had a hatchback back then. And they're like, all right, well, we'll try. It's like, if not, we have to bring the other car. And so we squeezed it in there and everything. And dude, I was excited. That was like my most exciting, like special edition anything when I picked up that thing, because I still got the statue. And it's a badass statue too. It lights up and everything.
Yeah.
So, but those are the only times like I really got excited for a physical game, just because of, like, that big statue. And it came with the game too. No. I don't know, man. Physical is dying. We've known it. Just people can't accept it. And I know my Target, it is. I don't know if Target's included in this plan to get rid of physical games. I know it's just.
I don't know about games, but they're all like on the move, like towards like, because you hear them mention DVDs, because at the end of the day, Nintendo will be the only thing on the shelves if they keep going on with that.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Best Buy, it was mostly Nintendo.
Oh, look at that. Demon Slayer.
I was like, where'd he go?
You can't get it off now.
Yeah, listen, physical may be dying, but collector's editions better not be.
Have this shit. That's different, because it's like,
and I don't think they will either.
No, that's awesome. I like that.
Oh yeah, man. But you know, I was gonna say, Yeah, physical and stuff is dying, you know, and it's gonna die, bro. Like we just got to get used to it, man. No question.
My target. I mean, like I don't know if you heard this part. I don't know if they were in the plan of doing the same thing, but their game section is just like their Nintendo's probably fully stocked because it's Nintendo, but PlayStation, Xbox, I mean, they're both equally just like nothing's there. Slowly, just kind of like let the stock just sell and then be done with it, right?
Yeah.
I know the Best Buy that I went to, that I usually do, they just don't stock it. Right now, I haven't been to a Best Buy ever since they announced that they're gonna stop carrying physical. So I need to go.
Walmart's moving into that same exact position.
The same thing, yeah. And my Walmart, they've been doing it for a long time now. They're just like nobody stocks anything anymore. You know?
No, there's not. I mean, there's just not a reason to, man. I mean, as much as you kind of hate to see it, there's just not a reason to. And by the way, just to let you know, that Titanfall limited edition, or collector's edition, is listed on average right now anywhere between $750 to $2,000 just to get that. So
that statue,
crazy, man.
Yeah. Here's a funny one. Not even a collector's edition. It was a PS4 game, Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember or even knew that there was a Godzilla game out there for a PS4. Yeah. I bought it at the time and didn't like it, and I traded right. And I was like, "This is garbage," right? Mm-hmm. I thought it was gonna be cool. Well, my son, who's all into Godzilla, he's like, "Is there a PlayStation game? You know, Godzilla?" I was like, "Yeah, there is." I was like, "But it sucks. I want to play it anyways." I was like, "Okay, let me look for it and I'll buy it." All right. Dude, it's going for $200 to $300 because they're out of print.
That's crazy.
And he's like, you got rid of that. It's like, it wasn't worth $300 back then. It's like, who knew it was going to be that much, you know?
Yeah. That was the one thing that was really great about working for GameStop back in the day, is that like when over a certain amount of time, they don't do it now the way they used to, but over a certain amount of time, these games would like games or collector's editions would get pennied out in the system. So like, you would like, there's a ton of my stuff that I have up here in my collection and stuff that like while I was working, like I have this Batman versus Superman Ben Stiller edition of Batman that he was in the full armor. It's got the movable cape and all that other stuff. That shit originally when it came out, it was just for the Batman statue. It was like $299. And I got it for like, I think $6. And like it was painted out, you know, but GameStop is the one that started really doing this kind of secretly. Like if stuff is trending in the perspective of like trying to get rid of physical media and whatever else, they jumped on top of it. You know, that's the reason why you go into a GameStop now, and most GameStops, 80 to 90% of the store is more collectibles than it is video games.
And they hate it. The workers there hate it right now.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that was the other thing I was gonna say. Like the end of physical media, in terms of gaming, right, was a combination of things that happened all around the same time. And GameStop has a lot to do with it in the narrative I'm trying to spit here, right? It's like in the 360 PS3 era, we started experimenting with a lot of downloads, and just like you said, Tech, towards the end of that generation, that's what a lot of us were doing. But even then, with like Xbox Live Arcade and Steam, right? And Steam on PC went completely digital. Yeah, there's discs technically, right? But it's mostly all digital, right? And has been for a long ass time, right? But meanwhile, on console, like GameStop was annoying the gamers so much. And then Amazon was on the rise. So for me, towards the end of most of my purchases were becoming digital anyway, but the few that I would buy, I would just get them from Amazon because they would come to my house the same day of release. I got tired of those midnight releases, man. Right? I did a couple after a while. It's whatever, man. You just want your shit and you want to go home. And you're getting older, you don't care about that. You just want to go home, right?
And it's a younger crowd too, so
right? It's the whole thing you don't want to be a part of, right? Yeah. And then
who's the old guy that's there? Weirdo.
So you get your games at Amazon, they mail it right to you anyway, right? Yeah. So it was all these things started happening all at once. Plus, at the same time, everybody's getting their internet connections in order. Yes, there's a lot of areas, and trust me, I only recently, in like relatively so, right, got an internet connection that number one was unlimited, right? Where I didn't have a data cap, right? And had sufficient enough speeds. Because at the very beginning of last generation, I had the unlimited, but not the speed, right? Because I was on DSL because the cable company here had a data cap, right? And now they finally have tiers where if you are in the top 2 tiers, now it's top 3 tiers, right? Of their service, it's unlimited. A lot of cable companies were doing that around that time. So it was a lot of things were happening all at once to kill the demise of physical media. Plus all these collector's editions, you would hear all these reports. You would get the collector's edition, and they would be broken, and they would tell you off rip, they ain't gonna fix or replace it. Like there was lots of examples when that would happen to Sony, but it wasn't just Sony, right? And it was all these things all happening at the same time. Largely, gamers like the hell with physical media, man. It's just easier to just download the game and I'll be
download it.
done.
Yeah,
Dude. I could do it on my phone and tell my console to download. By the time I get home, it's done.
When I introduced my son to Game Pass, he's like, I go, look, this is Game Pass, and just like you said, so just scroll, just go like look at all these titles, right? Just like Netflix, not every show and movie is going to be for me, but there's going to be something in that collection of games, right? And he's tried out so many games that he's played more than I have out of Game Pass, and he's enjoying. He's like, dude, there's a lot of games, Dad. I was like, yeah, I told you, man. Game Pass is pretty awesome because of the way it's set up, man. And it's all digital. Like, I don't have to go to the store now. You just tell me if we have it. Ask me, Dad, do you have this game? I was like, let me look in Game Pass. Let's see if it's there. If not, we'll just buy it on the digital storefront.
Yeah, and that's just how it's moving, man. And that kind of cuts into the whole thing with Palworld. Palworld is a digital game that was exclusive, of course, on Xbox and PC. And bro, look, Microsoft is just head over heels right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're head over heels. I mean, Palworld is Pokemon with guns. And
have you got anybody's used it? I mean, except for me, I have. But what about you guys?
I've played probably about 15 minutes worth of it, and of course, I'm in the midst of reviewing Tekken 8, and I'm getting prepped to do our review for Skull and Bones. And
hold on, you said Skull and Bones?
Skull and Bones comes out the 16th of February from
Ubisoft.
Yeah, finally it's coming out. You didn't know? Yeah, it's coming out.
No, I thought they pushed it back.
Nope, it's coming out February 16th, and they're having an open beta that was announced today that comes out on February 8th and lasts until the 11th. And if you pre-order the premium version or something like that of the game, you could play it on the 13th. So it's officially coming out, and they announced as well today that the full first year of content, it's all free. So it's all the whole first year of DLC and all that other stuff. It's all free. I think that's kind of what they're going to be pushing with it since it got pushed off so much. But I'm super excited about that. I played it first back in 2018 with the Singapore Ubisoft team at E3, and I've just been in love with that game. But since then, but that cuts down to Palworld, listen, bro, I'm serious when I say this. As my main job now is a merchandiser, and one of the merchandisers I work with, she's 50 or 40 something years old, bro, and she plays video games. She's kind of like an older geek, but she brought up how her and her son have been playing Palworld, and she was like, listen. When my son told me it was Pokemon with guns, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm playing that. That's exactly what she said at work the other day. And I was like, I was rolling, man. I was like, I just never thought you would play something like that. She's like, hell yeah, Pokemon with guns. Fuck yeah, I'll play it.
Dude,
so, it's huge. It's taking off, man. And I mean, the digital aspect of it is crazy.
I'll tell you, man, I'll be the first. I always said this in previous games. Survival games are not my thing. They're just I get bored pretty fast. It's okay, I'm just trying to feed my community. I'm trying to build my community. I'm trying to defend it. It's just not for me. I just don't get into it. Right. I don't know about this game, man, but like I said, I've been playing it every single day Maybe
Well,
because
tech-
it's maybe because it's an easy game to pick up on because it's not that difficult.
Maybe, yeah.
That's the
No,
deal.
well, I'm more
Right.
like you, Tech. I was like, I'm not interested in it, so I'm really not playing it. I have no interest or anything like that. But it's it's cool to see its success, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to its success. And there's all this shenanigans around, especially now with the talk about AI, like I alluded to earlier, right? Like the word used to be automation in a lot of these arenas now where they use the term AI. Like they use AI almost like a catch-all term for all this stuff, even where it doesn't apply, right? And this is one of those things. Like in gaming, yeah, I'm sure they're using automated tools. Yeah, AI, if you want to call it, like we were talking about earlier with that Grand Theft Auto example with those remasters, whatever, of those classic games from the PS2 era, right? They use tools that are automated to convert the textures into something higher res of their own assets. I'm sure they use lots of tools like that, and it's nothing new. Like I said, Final Fantasy 14 did it way back when, and that's part of the reason why it flopped early on, right?
Yep.
I'm sure it's happened many, many, many times that I don't know about. These are two examples off the top of my head. But like, there's all this talk about this game from people who have vested interest to talk negatively about it. Either they're Pokemon fans who just feel offended. It's like when the Steam Deck was first announced. The people I heard speak the most against it were Nintendo fans who felt like it was encroaching on the domain of the Switch, right? The handheld domain. That's Nintendo's domain. How dare anybody else come in? And it's like the Pokemon fans, they seem to be doing the same thing to this, right? Or the PlayStation fans who don't have it and they see Xbox has the first big hit of the year, right? This year just began already within that first or second week. Xbox already got a big banger that everybody and their mom is playing, and every day the number of people who bought the game on Steam goes up by 1 million.
Climbs, bro. Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's up to now. I think it's up to 8 million now. That's and tomorrow might be 9, and by the weekend it may go faster again, right? A bunch of people get paid. Their kids have been pestering them about it all week, and now they finally get paid on tomorrow, and they're gonna get this game for them. So it might jump to 11 by the end of Friday, like early Saturday morning. You might hear 11 or 12, and not 9 or 10. Yeah, right.
You never know.
But all these people, but there's a lot of people who are definitely playing this game and enjoying this game, and it's the hotness du jour, like Elden Ring was, Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield. Lots of games like you could mention like that in recent memory, right? That really captured gamers of all walks who had access to it, right? And everybody was speaking positively about it. It's another game like that, except for those who don't have it or have beef with the platforms that do have it, right? Those are the ones I see to speak out against this game in all manner of ways, right? They want to attack it because it's the clone of Pokemon. It's this, it's that, it's too violent. It's all these other things. Like they want to add this.
But don't they fight in Pokemon? Isn't that violent?
Yes, bro. Like Pikachu gets his ass whooped, bro. Like
even Peter's getting involved in this now.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's turn based on Nintendo. But like when was that SIKSLAYER, he said it's Pokemon with guns, and he said, and when you asked me if he played it, I already knew he didn't play it much.
He didn't play
it's not Pokemon.
No, not me.
Listen,
not me. I played it about
15 minutes, right?
I played about 15 minutes of it,
right?
But that woman that she saw
the woman said, "Hell yeah!"
Trailer of it. She was like, "Fuck yeah, bro! It's Pokemon with guns." I was like,
"Yeah."
Well, that's the thing is that this company, bro. What's their name? What is it? Pocket Pair. Pocket Pair is fucking. They're geniuses, bro. They're geniuses.
Well, it's because the pals bring you in, right? You come in for the pals, and then you find out that you're playing a survival game.
You're playing a survival game, bro. Yeah, exactly.
But like I've got 28 hours into it.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
All right.
But see, like I'm gonna tell you what it reminded me of when I first played State of Decay. You have to manage mood. You have to manage spirits. You have to manage.
Yeah, but State of Decay is like really involved though.
But that's what this is.
But it doesn't seem that involved like State of Decay did,
because it's glitchy.
It is glitchy.
Like,
It is glitchy.
Like I got a bucket full of berries and they're still saying they're hungry. So I got to go over there and
Oh,
manually feed and pet them to make them happy again.
That's
so they can
me.
get back to work.
The berries is not enough because it barely makes them happy.
Well, I mean, I'm not giving them eggs and chicken.
That's cool.
So
what was that?
you gotta. I'm not giving them eggs and chicken.
Nah.
I've given pals like meat, like roast beef or whatever.
Oh no, man, you gotta hold on to that, man. Because if you cook it, have you started cooking?
Oh yeah, I've cooked.
Okay, because if you cook it, it can fill up like 3/4 of your health.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Start waving, TEKNOBLAST. Yeah, he must be telling him about the show and stuff. That's why I wanted you to wave. But he started waving before I could say anything.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I've been hours each night, man. My younger son, Lucas, dude, he gets home. Like the days I picked him up the last couple of days, he's like, "Daddy, we're gonna play Palworld." And I was like, "No, you gotta do your homework first, all right?
Yeah,
you gotta do whatever you need to first. Eat dinner, let me finish work, and then we'll play Palworld." I was like, "All right." So tonight, like before, like from 5 to 6 or something, I started playing. And he won't play. He'll watch and tell me, "Oh, Dad, there's a ball go over there. Go get the ball. Oh, get that new pal right there." He won't call him Pokemon because he already knows it's called Palworld, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't get confused. But he's all into it, and I tell him, he's like, "Daddy, can you get the saddle for that one pal?" I was like, "No." It's like, "I don't know how to get it yet. So can you look it up?" Dude, he gets his tablet, he starts researching.
You know what to do. Yep.
He knows what to do, man.
Yeah, bro.
And so, and he goes, like, "Why don't you look, explore more of the map and everything?" It's like, "But it's all grayed out. I'm not there yet." It's like, there's a bunch of powerful pals there and they'll beat me up. They're like, "Okay, hold on. These are all the travel. Here's the fast travel points. Make sure you find them first." Okay. I was like, "All right."
Yeah, because another thing you can do is get a mount or a bird, right?
Yeah,
you can fly over these things. So, but yeah, that game, like I said, you came for the pals, and you find out you're playing a survival game.
Yeah,
and this game can be a gateway to so many other games, like an Aura or just basically because you're base build too. Like, but it's like it has like Minecraft elements, right? Where you're building your own.
Oh, my older one.
So you're saying this has drug elements in it?
Has what elements?
A gateway game.
Yes, basically, because look, turn-based combat, right? The best selling one is Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you look at it, it's like a dying genre as far as I'm concerned. As far as what I can see from the numbers, I don't deal with like people's feelings, like the numbers. You look at Final Fantasy, they even had to make it a hack and slash instead of just a flat out turn-based game. And you got the old school fans clamoring for them to go back. But dude, they found out that, I mean, the title or franchise has been in decline for years, so they'll never go back. They may do a throwback like Ubisoft tried with Mirage, but they're not going to completely go back. But this game, like I said, is a gateway because you find. Look, shout out to Game Pass. Shout out to Game Pass because if it wasn't for Game Pass, once I saw these survival build-up elements, I wouldn't have been interested. But I've tried so many different games from Game Pass over the years that I was open to this, right? Open to playing a different type of game than what I expected because we expected Pokemon with guns because that's what it was hyped up as. And everybody said it was goofy. Even the people who are playing it now, it's like, "Oh man, that doesn't look right?" But look at the big push that Microsoft has towards tower defense and strategy games. Like they're in Game Pass. Some of them aren't, but some of them are on the platform now. Like one game that I've been playing for years, Kingdom Rush. Right, that game's on Xbox. I beat it on my phone, beat it on PC. I seen I'm gonna buy it on Xbox too because I play it whenever I'm super bored. Like I like that push, and I'm interested in a lot of different games because I have the opportunity to try them, and that's what they were talking about. This is why I know that Sarah Bond wasn't lying, and why I don't really engage when people say dumb things when they start trying to talk about the sales of a particular game. When Game Pass is for the whole of gaming, or at least the roster of games is on Xbox, because people are trying new games that they wouldn't normally try before because it's risk-free technically. And this game, like I said, you came for one reason, you're playing something else, and you come in and find out that, wow, this game could be fun. Let me play other games like this. This game makes me want to go back to Grounded. You know? Yeah. And I would never do Minecraft because I know how much of a time sink that game is. But if Minecraft came out next year, I would have been into it. that's what I'm saying when it comes to Game Pass and games like this. This game has so many elements. It has a little Pokemon. I'm glad that it's not turn based. I'm glad that my guy, he can roll around and dodge and do something. It's live action, but there's so much into this game, and they're just getting started. They didn't anticipate this type of success.
No,
that's why they're rolling out that they put out their what is it, roadmap, right?
Yeah.
And look what's the other game they have, Sick? Craftopia.
Craftopia, yes.
They're trying to wrap up Craftopia because that game's been in early access forever. They're trying to wrap that up so that they can put more resources towards Palworld.
And the best evidence of what you're talking about was early on when they had the server issues, and it wasn't like the traditional server issues or misprogramming or something. It was just overloaded with so many people playing it. That's what it was, clearly, because they packed it up real quick, and that's what proves that, right? Because if it was a more technical issue or something issue with the game in and of itself, it wouldn't have been fixed that quickly or as quickly. It probably would have been fixed quickly, but not as quickly. And that's probably why, because it was just, the servers were overloaded. So they got that handled lickety split. And now it's 8-9 million. What's 8 million now? Shoot, like I said, by the end of the week, man, 12, 13, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at the rate it's going.
Yeah. I agree, man, 100%, and I think it's nuts to see the success that the game is having. And I think Real has said it perfectly. Like, shout out to Game Pass. I mean, honestly, that's the reason why I love Game Pass is because, you could see it every once in a while. You'll see this type of stuff on PlayStation Plus, to where like a game will come out and you're like, oh, I didn't even know that was on there. And I'll download and try it out. But like Game Pass, when it's a game like this, like Game Pass will promote it, or Game Pass will promote it heavily, and they'll be like, hey, so this game is coming out, and you'll hear some people kind of talk about it, and then you end up downloading and playing it, and you get obsessed with it, bro. But that's the reason why a system like Game Pass is such a great thing, because some of these games that came to Game Pass, I'm telling you right now, like they wouldn't have gotten the hype that they've got if it wasn't for Game Pass. Because most of the people that are playing them just off the whim would have never played them, and that's the reason why it is such a great service. And that's the reason why we're seeing such a big push into the digital market, to kind of blur the lines in both of these talking points. That's why we're seeing such a big push in the digital market. And in all honesty, as much as it sucks, it's also kind of the reason why we're probably seeing these layoffs across the board in the games industry, because the digital market is such a big thing. And if they can invest the money that they need to in the digital market, then everybody's doing it. Ubisoft is pushing Ubisoft Plus so heavily right now, bro. Like, that's their new thing. Like, hey, if you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, $14.99 a month, every single Ubisoft game that comes out, you won't just be able to play it day one, but you'll be able to play the highest dollar version of the game on Ubisoft Plus. But that is something that it will make your pocketbooks bawl their fucking eyes out, because you have to think, damn, bro, I'm gonna have to fucking pay for Game Pass Ultimate. I'm gonna have to pay for then I got Netflix, I got this, I got that. But I'm telling you, man, I mean, big shout outs to everybody playing this game, man, because people can hate on it as much as they want and say it's a fucking ripoff of Pokemon and whatever else. But this studio, they're geniuses, man. They were like, what's something that we can add all together? What's something that how can we make this game great? Let's add survival elements. Let's add, let's do something, and we'll call them pals that has that Pokemon-esque. Bro,
dude,
they're fucking geniuses, man.
My older one, when he saw me playing it, he goes, this is first Pokemon with guns.
Yeah.
And then he goes, it's like Legend of Arceus, because he plays a lot of Pokemon games.
Yeah.
It's like the Legend of Arceus. I was like, well, I don't know what Legend of Arceus is like, so I'll go off what you said.
Yeah.
And then when I went to the menu system, he's like, oh, that's just like Arc, because he plays Arc.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's Ark and Arceus just had a baby and this is what we got. And I was like, well, I don't play any of them, so it's like maybe it is. I don't know.
But yeah, shout out to Game Pass because it's just like they advertise when they advertise Game Pass, right? They always say, and many people say this is how you know it's true, and basically this is what you guys have all said, right? And I'm about to say it too. It's like what Game Pass does. It gives you the ability to try these games out, and you end up falling in love with games that you normally wouldn't have, even if you knew stuff about the game, like Realist was explaining, right? And even if Minecraft had come out next year and it was on Game Pass, if it came out next year and hadn't existed all this time, right? He would finally play it, right? Because he's been I'm gonna reuse that word,
exposed,
groomed by Game Pass. You've been groomed by Game Pass to now be more experimental with stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I have. I've done that where it's like I was hyped for a game. It was in Game Pass day one, and I tried it. And I'm like, dude, this game sucks. I didn't like it. But it wasn't a wasted money because like, oh, I tried it, didn't like it. All right, just delete it. Done.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And that's the reason why it's that's the reason why it is one of those things that it's like it's so easy to do that, because listen, bro, years ago I was a huge fucking Sony fanboy, bro. I was so wrapped up in like the element of what PlayStation was about, because in that PS3, like first off, it was mainly in the PS2 era, because in I'll say it till the day I die, like the PlayStation 2 era for Sony was like the fucking most fire era that they've ever had, bro. Like absolutely. Game after game after game after game, mega fucking hits. Like
what of those game after game after game mega hits for Sony properties?
I mean, there was a ton of them, bro. I mean, you want me to list every exclusive that ever came out for Sony?
I said Sony's.
Let me think. Hold up.
You had God of War.
You had God of War. You had I can't list.
Did you play Legend of Dragoon?
I played Legend of Dragoon on Xbox, bro. I didn't play Legend of Dragoon on anything else. So
that's an Xbox game.
Legend of Dragoon.
The Dragoon.
That was an Xbox game, bro.
Like Final Fantasy VII. It was on PS1. You mean that one?
I'm talking about that one.
Yeah,
it was on Xbox.
I don't remember it being. I'd have to look that up.
Wait, are you talking about Final Fantasy? Or are you talking about Legend of Dragoon?
I'm talking about the Dragoon game, the one that's on PlayStation that you have to stream.
I was Legend of Dragoon. Are you talking about the game on PS3?
I'm talking about the PlayStation game because I keep seeing PlayStation fans be upset that they closed Japan Studio, and that was a studio responsible for that game because I played it.
Yeah, I'm looking on it now. It was PS1.
Okay,
was it PS1? Okay, yeah,
that's an old game, and I was trying to play it, and it is dated. I'm sorry.
No, but look,
see, if you had a physical game, you would have been good.
You're right in that perspective that a lot, there was a lot of those games that were third party, but then there was a ton of games that came out on PlayStation 2 that were only on PlayStation 2, like the Ratchet and Clank series, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Kingdom Hearts, also it's third party, but it only came out on that console.
Well, what I'm saying is like,
so that's what I'm getting at.
I'm just saying when you bring up PlayStation, like, because what I've always said is that a lot of people are PlayStation fans for games that PlayStation doesn't make.
Yes, of course, but a lot of people are Xbox fans for games that Xbox doesn't make.
Not like the same way.
It is 100% the same way, Realist. Like that's 100% the same thing, bro. Like Xbox. I don't think listen, so Xbox and Microsoft has been 100% clairvoyant on like exactly and clear of what the type of company they want to be. Like Xbox is totally fine with promoting an exclusive that is only on Xbox that is not published by Xbox.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay, because what I'm saying is this. We talk about like PlayStation and how PlayStation had this and PlayStation has that. But what about now, right? These games are the games that people came to PlayStation for, but they're not PlayStation's games. They just happen to be exclusive. When PlayStation came in, right? Nintendo was pushed out. Sega was dead. It was pretty much just PlayStation until Xbox came and shot their shot. But when you talk about Xbox, people came to Xbox because of Halo and Gears.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, just being a realist, because like I said, I play Xbox just as much as I do with PlayStation, bro. Like Halo and Gears ain't nothing now, bro. Like Halo and Gears is shit. In total honesty, like
you think
Halo
they're bad?
Gears,
you think they're bad games? I don't think they're bad
no. I don't. I think Halo Infinite was totally 100% like a dark horse game that a lot of people did not appreciate for what the studio put into, especially with 343 with the open world aspect of things. They a lot of people shit on it, bro. But like Gears of War is not the same game that it used to be, bro. Like,
it doesn't have the same pool. We've acknowledged that here.
It doesn't have the same pool.
And neither one of them have the same pool.
Yeah.
But
so
what is PlayStation doing though? That's what
exactly.
I'm saying. Like,
so that's what I was saying earlier. Like PlayStation has to look into the perspectives of their competition and wake the fuck up. Like what is Xbox doing? Xbox, yes, they bought they have these acquisitions, they have these studios that are working on exclusives or whatever else. But in all honesty, that's just a side gig for Xbox, bro. Like, yeah, they want to come out with exclusives, but if they could come out with Game Pass that has all these games that are third party and you subscribe to Game Pass and it's day one on Game Pass, you can download it and play. That's where Xbox wants their money being made. They want people subscribing to their service. Xbox doesn't give a fuck about sales of exclusives, bro. And Phil Spencer has said that directly, bro. He does not care about exclusive games. He wants the Xbox brand everywhere. So that's where Sony has to actually stick to their word. And kind of like what Techno said. They have to stick to their word. And if they're going to be that studio, and to cut into what you had said previous, if they're going to be that studio that is a digital based studio that, makes you still buy your games, and we're not really worried about the Xbox Game Pass, style of things. We want to have singular game experiences, because that's what gamers do, right? Like they only play one game at a time. When I saw that comment the other day, I was like, what the fuck is he talking about, bro? Like I play like 5-6 games at a time. I don't play just one game here and there. But when it comes down to exclusives and stuff like that, I'm telling you, like all that stuff's going away, bro. Like Sony, yes, like they have Blue Point Games, they have some of these other games that are supposedly making these things, but I don't believe this shit until I see it. I don't believe it until I see it. But I will tell you this, that when the PlayStation 2 was out and about and they had Japan studios, they had Sony Santa Monica studios working on God of War, they had the third party game support that they had. It didn't matter if it was an exclusive. It just mattered that, or it didn't matter if it was done by Sony. It just mattered that, hey, it's on PlayStation 2 and the fucking game is awesome, bro. Like that was the thing. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm not saying in the perspective of Sony was doing it going off because they were making all these games. I'm just saying like that, like it was the end thing to have a PlayStation 2 because the huge game library. So now Xbox is in that goal, and Sony is honestly like, Sony is the Titanic, and they're like full speed ahead. There's a big ass fucking iceberg right in front of them, bro. Like, I feel that if Sony does not do what needs to be done at their studio over the next probably 10 years, like I don't see how they could continuously compete with Xbox, because as somebody that is a Sony fan, I'm a realist. I'm not like all these ponies out there that like get butthurt whenever somebody says real things. Like, bro, like show me money that Sony has actually made compared to what Xbox has made, bro. They haven't. They're coming out with games that, like, for instance, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered again for PlayStation 5, and it's $10. Like, I'm not investing my time and my money into some shit like that, bro. Like, come out with something exclusive. The drop that they did with the Valhalla DLC for God of War Ragnarok was fucking great, because Sony Santa Monica is a great studio, and they not only did they offer it for free, but it's a continuation of extra story bits that we didn't even get to see, and they changed the gameplay style to more like roguelike gameplay, that if you die, you start all the way back over at the beginning.
No,
you have to go.
Did they?
Oh yeah, bro.
Oh, I don't like that. That's
Yeah,
the
bro.
thing.
Like,
I gave up Hades and like some other game. I was like, I can't do.
Hey,
those
listen,
roads.
at first I hated it. I was like, man, this sucks, bro. But like, it's not set in a weird way. Like, as you do that, like if you die and you go back into Valhalla, as you go back into Valhalla, it actually leads into different side like kind of bits and pieces of like you learning more about Kratos, and since his son has done this and that and all this, and it was a really good setup for it. But like Sony has to just kind of wake up and smell the coffee, bro. Like, Sony has so many good studios and so many good IPs just sitting there on this dinner plate, bro. And they could fucking eat, bro. They could so eat, but they're not, you know? And until I really see them 100% be the studio that they used to be, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're just like, they're on the same level as Xbox, because they're not, bro. Xbox is an open-minded development company. You know what I'm saying? They're not just looking at it and saying, oh, well, we really need to focus on exclusives. You know, that's what Sony's thinking. That when Xbox bought Activision, that was the fucking first thing. They're like, oh my God, they're going to take Call of Duty from us. Like, they were like, holy shit. You know, look into the sales of that shit, bro. Like, some of the biggest sales of Call of Duty were on PlayStation, and Sony has used that money to fund their exclusive titles. So then that's why Jim Ryan was freaking out. He was like, oh my God, like they're going to take Call of Duty from us. We're not going to have the money that we need to be able to support these exclusives. Like, bro.
And we saw the bender he must have been on when he finally came back in that white tee. Like,
yeah, bro.
Coked out, man.
Yeah, bro.
Like he, you know, but they have to think about that, you know, but that's what I'm getting at is like, you know, back in the day, Sony was on their high horse because PlayStation 2 sales were just skyrocketing. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if you didn't play games and you didn't really know a lot about games. Like, everybody had to have a PlayStation 2. Just like whenever, you know, the Wii came out, bro. Like, it didn't matter if you liked Nintendo. You bought a fucking Wii because everybody had it, bro. Like, it still to this day shocks me that there were so many sales on Nintendo products. You know, you still see it. Fucking the Switch. I mean, of course, with the 3DS, you know, there's not a new iteration of that console yet. But I'm telling you, bro, it's already in the talks. When Nintendo announces that they're coming out with that Switch 2, bro, the fucking, like, Nintendo's going to be, like, it's going to be back on, it's like Cloud 75 up here, way the fuck over Xbox and PlayStation. And be like, hey, man, listen, you know, I don't know what we're doing, but, you know, we're just rehashing the same exact games from the last 25 years. You know, and that's what Nintendo does. But that's
but they don't call it remastered or
exactly. That's like what Six said, you know, like, that's their niche, bro. That's what they're into. Like, Nintendo fans, bro, I'm telling you, they could literally over the next 25 years, the only games that come out could be Pokemon. You know,
I think you're gonna say that Pokemon was
Pokemon.
It was, and Palworld exposed it to those who didn't want to admit it.
I'm telling you, bro. Listen, it could be Pokemon, it could be Mario, it could be a Luigi style game, Zelda, and that's in like a Metroid game, and that's the only games that are published continuously for the next 25 years, and they're fine, bro. They'd be fine. They'd be fine.
Well, hell, man, they come out with two versions of a Pokemon release. Like, here's Scarlet and Violet, or Violet Scarlet, whatever it's called.
Yeah, bro. And, I mean, Super Mario Wonder came out. Okay, so I got it, of course, and me and my son, we play it, and it's a great game. It's really fun. But then, you know, they're coming out, they rehashed RPG, and then they got Mario versus Donkey Kong. It's coming back out. And then they got this Princess Peach single player game to where she gets to dress up like a cowboy now. Like, bro, the Nintendo fans eat it up, man, and they make so many amazing sales from it.
Yeah,
you know, so
because that's what I was about to say. We make fun of them, but each one of those things are selling over 20 million.
Yes, exactly, bro. You know, so they know what they're doing. So that's what I'm saying about Xbox. Xbox knows exactly what they're doing with Game Pass, bro. Like, they know
using
exactly
a pickaxe to break a tree.
Hey,
That was my early days, man. That was my early. Hold on. Oops. Let's get rid of
Oh
that.
shit!
But yeah,
man.
like when Nintendo, see the difference between everybody, right? Sony is re-releasing games that came out like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Like it doesn't make sense to me, bro. Like
can put
from
him in
somebody that
pickaxe.
plays everything that they like, bro. When they started doing that shit, and they were like, "Oh, well, we're gonna come out with," I'm like, that just came out like 3 years ago. Like,
You know
why
what
the
they
fuck
do?
are they doing that?
you,
Like,
you know what they do? I just realized. You remember how if a game was really popular, right, and
Yeah.
eventually there'd be a bunch of DLC and all that stuff, what would they do? They would release a Game of the Year edition, right, or whatever they would brand.
Oh, I
Usually
do remember the Game of the Years. Yeah.
right? It would be a packaged version at the original price of the launch game. Back then it used to be $60, but now you're paying $60 and getting all the DLC and stuff, and it would usually be on a disc. This is in the transitional period, and then it became nowadays they would start to package them. It would be the original. She's getting
Yeah.
like, hey, what's up, girl?
How dare you?
Repackage the original disc, right, and then change the packaging like the paper sleeve and call it the Game of the Year, and then we'll give you a code for the rest of the stuff, right?
yeah,
But this is what Sony is doing, and that's what Sony is doing, and they're calling it a whole new thing and acting like it's this super duper remaster that's worth the price of admission when it's really just a patch. Because back in the day, all they did was compile all the stuff they had together in a pile, print a new disc, and do that. But after a while, they got crappy with that, which is ties into the story I was telling earlier as to why people left physical and mostly went to digital because of tactics like this. Like they were shooting themselves in the foot. But there you have it. That's how it happened.
yeah. And you know what Sony used to do too, which was I thought was a really good tactic on PlayStation 3, especially. What they would do is these games would come out and they were like mega hits for them, and then they would come out with the PlayStation Essential Collection. So the Essential Collection, they would re-release them at a lower price, and they would change the instead of it being like a clear package, it was like red. Yeah, and it came with all the DLC and stuff like that. And instead of you paying, $59.99, you'd pay like $39.99.
Yeah,
so
special insert too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah. And like what you said, it would have like dual-sided inserts and all this other stuff. And like, it was cool. But bro, like I'm fine. I'm fine with, I don't care who, if it's Xbox, if it's Nintendo, if it's PlayStation, I'm fine with them re-releasing a version of a game. If it's like
a beloved one.
If it's like a beloved one or something like that, and they're like, hey, we're bringing out this version of the game and it's accessible with our new system and it's only $5 or whatever else. But Sony fucked up. Like Sony released the game. Sony released the game, and then they were like, these people got charged, we charged all these people, $70 something for this game. And so they had to say, oh, well, we're going to give you your money back, and now we're going to change it to where it's only $10. Like, bro, you did that to save face, man. You did that to save face. Like you were like, if people would have came out and been like, oh, I'm fine with paying $59 for Last of Us 2 remastered, no walk, fuck edition, like whatever it's called. It's like no hero alone edition or something like that. They would have been fine if people would have not said anything about it, but everybody was like, why is this listed at $59? Like, that makes no sense. But if Sony wants to be that rehash studio, then cool. Just let Blue Point Games do what they do best and come out with rehashes, because Blue Point Games does a great job. They came out with Shadow Colossus, which originally came out on PS2. They brought it out on PS4, and it was great. Like it was mind blowing how great it looked. They brought out the Nathan Drake collection, and it was all 3 games, all tied together. Cool.
All old games too.
Let them do that, but don't make it to where like that's what everybody looks at Sony as, because that's what they're starting to get to the point of looking like. Like everybody's like, well, that's all they do is they just bring out the same exact fucking games all the time.
So if you have to like that goes back into what I was asking you earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like PS2 was probably the pinnacle, right? They sold more consoles than anybody in history. They had more games than anybody in history. The PS1 was pretty pretty dominant too, because
Yeah, it was.
I remember my Dreamcast wall getting shorter and shorter back when EB was here.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like this. We talk about what PlayStation is doing right now, but I actually applaud what they're doing because those games are not for you. This is my first PlayStation console. It's for me, right?
Yeah.
But my thing, what I did was, I played everything else that the PlayStation has to offer outside of games that didn't come to Xbox or PC. So when they re-released The Last of Us, it's not for you, it's not for me, it's not for tech. It's for people who didn't play it.
Yeah,
and they need to get people to buy their games
at full price too.
Because look, at this point with certain games like Horizon, if Horizon remake is true, they need more PlayStation owners to buy their games. They don't want to have to bundle and force it, right? Because even then, like they're not looking to play that game. Like back in the day when people bought Mario and Duck Hunt, they wanted to play Mario and Duck Hunt, they bought a Nintendo. And also back then, if you made games, you made a console.
Yeah,
that's what
Sega had a console, SNK had a console, everybody had a console back then
for their games.
So like if people are buying PlayStations, but they're not buying PlayStation games, they need to increase the visibility of these games. Put it on the front page, treat it like it's new. Yeah, like us, the hardcore gamers are gonna be like, ew, no. But these new people who came, these new people, because they said that in the beginning, 40% of the accounts created were people who didn't have a PlayStation 4. I'm in that number. Yeah. So, but I've been in every Xbox podcast, whatever, seeing PlayStation fans come in and say Xbox has no games, they have no bangers. So I played those games.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, dude, I came here for better games, for more games. You said you had games, but you're releasing games that I already played, and I just played them. Like I literally just played The Last of Us. That was one of the first games I got when I got a PlayStation. Yeah. But they need more people to buy their games, so they have to keep putting them back out there. They have to keep putting them out there because what's going to happen is if they lose the console edge in any way, let's just say that they sold what 112, 114, 115. Let's say 120 because I keep hearing numbers because they're still selling them. So let's say instead of selling 120 by the end of the generation, they sell 90. That's not enough people buying games because that's the reason why PlayStation is number one is their storefront. It's not because they're because you look at Nintendo. Nintendo is actually making more money than both. Why? Yeah. Because they're selling more games at 100% on their console versus the competitors selling third-party content for 30%.
Yeah.
Xbox has remedied theirs with Game Pass because hey, we're just going to put them in there. We're making hundreds of millions, trying to get to $1 billion every month.
Yeah.
Whereas PlayStation is like the next game that they release, it has to hit. People like more, not just the 20, 30 million people that are hardcore. They need the casuals to look at them as, look, they're going to have a game and I need to have it. Because as of right now, even on Xbox, the same thing. They're buying more Madden 2K, Fortnite than the rest of the games and Grand Theft Auto. And those games take up more time than like that's the only game you really need if you become invested in those games. I used to be that guy. I used to play just 2K and Madden every year.
Yeah.
That's all I needed every year. And that's what's happening on PlayStation. But Xbox is trying to break that. Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, hey, I was a console warrior because I was Genesis versus Super Nintendo, Dreamcast versus PlayStation. And then I went to college and I got out of video gaming for a while. But this is why I'm not upset with PlayStation for doing what they're doing because they have to get people buying their games. And it looks bad to us, but to the new people, they don't know any better. Yeah. To the people that are casuals who have not been looking for PlayStation games, they don't know any better. If they can get them in front of those games, then that's better.
My big thing is I'm not upset with Sony for doing what they're doing. I'm upset with Sony with the system that they have in place. Okay, so I've been somebody that I have paid my fair share of dollars into Sony's profit margin, to say the least. Like I was one of the guys that like when PlayStation Home came out, every single big thing that was out for PlayStation Home, I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was their like Second Life takeoff. everything that came out. If it was a video game themed room that you had, I bought it day one, no question. If it was a Little Big Planet and it came out with like video game themed skins for your Sackboy, I bought it day one, no question. You know, like I was like all about it. Like I was like, man, they got so many great things. But like now, as somebody that like my son is 5 and my daughter is 7, and they're really getting into video games now. So I do not have a PlayStation VR at all because I think VR is a complete gimmick, 100%. Like I think VR is a really cool thing, a really, really cool thing, but I'm not going to spend my money into it because I think eventually it's just going to do the same exact thing that 3D did. I think, you know, I've played VR. I had I can't even remember the name of it. I had a MetaQuest and I got rid of my MetaQuest because I spent more time playing console games than I did VR games. So, but I mean, I think it's cool. I think the PSVR aspects of things, that they come out with different versions of, like, I would love to play Resident Evil 4. I got to review that game early, and I would love to play it in VR. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to go out and spend $300 something on a PlayStation VR headset that my kids are going to destroy.
So
300.
550.
550. I'm sorry.
Yeah, get it right, man.
I apologize. But no, like, you know, it's
all the more silly. You know what I'm saying?
I would buy it if it was 300.
Yeah, right. Like if it's $299, I'm gonna buy it. You know, that's the reason why I got a MetaQuest, because a MetaQuest, the version 1 dropped down to like $199 on sale, and I was like, oh shit, well, I'll buy it. You know, but I wasn't even playing it enough, so I sold it to a friend. I was like, hey, you know, $140. He's like, okay, yeah, I'll come over today.
Woo! Deal.
But you know, like for instance, okay, so like we were talking about sales with these consoles and stuff like that. Like Sony with the PS5, Sony is getting back into what they did with the PlayStation 2. Like they're doing console sales. Yes, they're doing console sales. I mean, they're having like fucking crazy number of console sales compared to Xbox, you know, but at the same time, like, they're selling consoles, but like, I mean, the amount of exclusives, like where are the exclusives? You know, like this coming 2024, we're supposed to see the remake of Silent Hill 2 that's supposed to be exclusive. We're, Rise of the Ronin is coming out in I think in what, February or March. Yeah. And then, of course, because of the success of the Marvel Spider-Man series, everybody is, and because of the next Deadpool movie that features Wolverine, everybody is thinking, oh my fucking God, I can't wait until Marvel's Wolverine comes out. You know, it's going to be a really huge game. You got Death Stranding 2 that's gonna be a timed exclusive. You got Marathon, you know, that's a rehash of the original version of Halo. But like, yes, these are games, but these are games that we've heard about for like how many years? You know, like we've heard about a lot of these games for a long time, you know, and the reason I get irritated is because I am fine with waiting for exclusives, but at least have a system set up that is easy to play games when I want to play games. You know what I'm saying? And with Xbox Game Pass, bro, like I can just turn my Xbox on. I could go in there and see some crazy fucking game that I've never heard of before, download it and just play it. Like I'm going to tell you guys right now, like the shocker of mine, my dark horse game of 2023 that if you have not played, you're fucking crazy, is Cocoon. Like it is one of the best. Oh my God, bro.
It was good.
Such a good game. It is such a good and engrossing game. I would have never
it's not
played
complicated at all. It's an easy game to pick up on.
Yeah. Yep. I would have never played it if it wasn't for Game Pass, bro. Yeah. Like 100%.
I played that one. I just played Jasant. I don't know if you played Jasant.
I didn't play Jasant, no. But I saw it on Game Pass. I saw it.
Yeah.
So but that's where I'm getting at, man. Like the last of it, listen, I can give my dues to Naughty Dog. Like Naughty Dog, all the games that they have come out with have always been huge games for me that I've loved. When Last of Us 1 came out, I was like, holy fuck, that was great. Last of Us 2 came out. I was like, man, I did not expect it to be as good as the last one, but it was awesome.
You like the second one? I like the first one still the most.
Yeah. Now, mind you, the first one meant a lot more because of that whole journey with Ellie and Joel.
Mhm.
But I like the fact that Joel got fucked up. You know, I really did. Like, you know, in all honesty, man, you think about this, like in the story of The Last of Us, Joel was a piece of shit, bro. Like before Ellie came
man.
along,
Look at the times they're living in, man. I mean, he can't be taking shit from anyone.
Before Ellie came along, man, he was a piece of shit. And then you really think about it, and he knew, bro. And even his brother knew this.
He knew though.
He knew that he was he knew his day was gonna come, bro. Because like when his brother in the second one, when they showed that moment that he was talking to his brother and he was like, Joel, what did you do? And he's like, I went in there and I decided to be fucking selfish because I was feeling like a dad again and fuck humanity over by saving this girl. You know, like, you know, I mean, I remember that moment in that game, like when he goes there and saves her from them coming out with a cure that could literally cure everybody and completely change the entire world. He was like, no. My daughter died a long time ago, and I'm stopping this from happening. You know, it was a completely selfish thing to do. And I remember looking at my wife, because you know, we had this thing to where like any new games that would come out that she didn't really plan on playing, but she wanted to watch. We would set it up almost like movie night. She'd just sit there and watch me play it for a couple of hours. So when that moment happened, my wife was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I was like, he saw it, bro. He just, you know, he just condemned the whole world just to save some little chick. And
it's like I was all for it, man. Like, what?
Yeah,
it's like
man.
The whole world hated that, right?
Yeah,
and then you get somebody like you comes like, man, I thought it was badass.
yeah. Everybody, bro. Oh my god, like the backlash from Sony fanboys. Like, wait a second, Joel dies. Like, yes, he dies. Did you really?
That was the thing.
Yeah, and Sony, hey, bro, Sony fucked over fans. So like, it's such a good mind fuck way. Like the original trailer, it showed Ellie's face getting covered up, and then it shows Joel, and they're like, oh man, they're together again. Nope. That was they just fucked with you.
Nope.
You know.
Nope.
But I look at it like I know I got off on a tangent there, but I look at it like
what we do here.
I look at it like Sony has so many have a really good possibilities of what's going forward with their stuff, like with the games that they can create, and with the community they can build with their games and whatever else. And yes, they have, like, I agree with what Real is saying. I understand what he's getting at too, in the perspective that they need to have their games out there that are their mainstay games for people that did not have a PlayStation 4, because there's a ton, you know, anytime there's a console transfer, there's a lot of people that you would be, I mean, I'm sure you guys probably wouldn't be shocked, but people that don't look into this type of stuff would be shocked to see the sales growth of PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones when the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 came out. Because when the Xbox X or Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 came out, there was a ton of people that had just got around to the point of getting the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. You know, so
but that's how it always is, though.
That's how it's always.
It's always the stragglers, and even the PS2, because it was so successful, it lasted long after,
like for another 10 years, didn't it?
Yeah, it was still there. But this is what I wanted to speak up about, right? Like when you guys are all everybody talks about exclusives, but it seems like a lot of people seem to forget or start foremost on their mind what the purpose of the exclusive is. The exclusive, particularly a first-party exclusive, right? That's the most important example of this, right? Are games that make people want to get the system for, right? Like the system seller. We used to call it the system seller. And even in earlier days, if you're really old fart, you remember that was the pack-in game, right? Yep. That was the game that came with the system when the system first came out. It was made by the console manufacturer because they made games. So like Gorilla said, if you made games, you came out with the system, right? And so that was there. It made you want to get the system because that game is so awesome and it represents, and it can never be from anywhere else because the maker of the system made that game. So of course it can never go elsewhere unless, you know, some situation happens, like the situation with Sega and whatnot, right? But like, and there's all these third parties and stuff, so you get the third parties there. But what the PS2 enjoyed was something it got from the PS1. The PlayStation made its name on the PS1 in an era when there was no real competition, or the competition that was there wasn't even a threat to them, right? So they got to grow exponentially, and they made a name. So when they came out with the PS2, it was just on and rolling. Plus, they had the DVD and all that other stuff. It was just a thing. And so they had a lot of first parties, but a lot of people only remember them for a lot of the third party stuff, right? And so now the system, the platform doesn't even have an identity. So now, you know, like Microsoft is buying ABK, and all of a sudden Sony's shitting themselves up because they're afraid, because they don't have any of these first parties to hold the system up to make people want to get the system like at that level anymore. It's just an also ran. It's just an also ran. You know, you get the system without a packing, without that top game day one, just because you know the platform is going to eventually have all these games, and you believe in that platform. You've been on the previous iterations of them, and you want to stay on. And Sony is starting to lose even that slowly, right? Because now all the third parties that they're known for can be found elsewhere at better cost and better fidelity sometimes, oftentimes actually, right? And it's just like, so then it becomes, what's the reason of buying a PlayStation? They used to say that to Xbox. Now the shoe's on the other foot. What's the reason to buy a PlayStation if all you're gonna do is buy Call of Duty, Madden, 2K, play Fortnite? You know what I'm saying? Like more people than not, that's all they do in any of these systems. And if your system doesn't have these exclusives, you know, these things that make you want to get the system, even if those other things aren't there, then you have nothing. And that's slowly what's beginning to happen to Sony.
Yeah, and it really is. And in all honesty, you know, as just fans of games, you know, we have to worry about we got to worry about people like Realist, you know, that just fucking play Madden and shit all the time. we got to worry about we have to worry about that type of stuff, and that's why I do get really defensive when it comes down to Xbox original titles and Sony original titles, because though we are, of course, getting away from that type of stuff, you know, like I've said, Phil Spencer has always been just such like, he's such a fucking awesome dude, and he's such a humble guy, and such a like big fucking gamer. You know, I have him on Xbox, and every single time I get a notification that pops up that Phil's online, every single time when I click on his profile, it's him in there playing like Diablo, or he's playing some game or something like that.
Real gamer. You see it all the time.
Because he's exactly. So that's what I'm saying is like he is a realist of saying like, I want Xbox as a brand. I want Xbox as a brand to be a home for gamers. And how many times did he say it about, you know, the acquisition of Activision? Like, listen, we're not buying Activision to take Call of Duty away from PlayStation. We're not buying Activision to take away WoW from its main fan base. You know, we're not doing this. We're doing this to make gaming better, you know, and that's the reason why I have such high regard for Xbox, especially over the last few years, since they built the company into what it is now, and it is a hub for gaming, plain and simple. It's still weird to see every once in a while. It's weird to see whenever you log into your Xbox and you get on MLB The Show and see the Sony logo pop up, or get onto an Xbox platform game like, you know, Minecraft Legends or something like that, and Xbox pops up or whatever. But I'm telling you, if Microsoft had the opportunity to put some type of Xbox representation on Sony, or a representation of like an Xbox app or something like that. That, you know, Phil Spencer has talked about this before. Like they would do it no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, but Sony is too prideful to do something like that. Sony looks at the error of them being the dominant gaming company, and they're like, well, we're making these console sales. You know, we need to make, you know, what makes Sony great. I'll tell you the reason why I bought a PlayStation 5. I bought a PlayStation 5 because of the aesthetics of the PS5. I bought a PlayStation 5. I listen, I know everybody hated it, but I love the different style of it. I loved the haptic feedback that the controller was going to have. I love the playability of it. And also one game that I was really excited for was Ratchet and Clank.
I liked it.
You know, I thought it was a great game.
It was very well received, but it was a really, and I think, and I'm not saying that as like a fanboy knock, but I feel like that's the problem with a lot of those games. Well, not even the games. It's the player base with PlayStation now. Like those few who actually play games, they play the games and they're out, and there's not enough of them. And the population are more likely the, you know, like the ones who are playing the 2K, Madden, Fortnite, Call of Duty stuff they can play on any system, but they just play PlayStation because that's the hot system.
Exactly.
For no other reason, not because games are better or anything gaming related that would make the gaming life better. It's just because that's the name.
No question.
Beating those lambs like this.
I was waiting for some
shit out of those lambs.
I was waiting for somebody to say something.
Hey, but Solip, like the main reason why PlayStation doesn't want to allow Game Pass or hell even any other subscription, because it takes away from sales of games.
Of course,
because you remember in the beginning they didn't want EA access.
They didn't want EA access.
They didn't want any additional, you know, competition on their platform.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why Ubisoft Plus isn't on. Is not represented the proper way on PlayStation.
Well, I think that boils down to money.
Huh?
I think that boils down to money more than anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because, like, if you're a PlayStation Plus premium subscriber, you get Ubisoft Plus, but you only get Ubisoft Plus Classic. So you get Ubisoft Plus.
If they pay more, they get Plus.
Huh?
If they paid more, so you're saying the opportunity for them to even, so you can't even subscribe to Ubisoft Plus?
No. No.
Okay.
So like you have Ubisoft Plus that is bundled in to PlayStation Premium.
Whoa,
what it is
it's
it's
way to get it.
No, hold up.
No, like they don't have the full suite.
It's a completely different version. It's called Ubisoft Plus Classic, and it's only certain Ubisoft games.
Okay.
You know, like you can play Assassin's Creed, you know, you can play all these old Assassin's Creed games and stuff like that. You can play, I could download, you know, whatever, but like the new shit.
And no PSN or anything else. I can't just buy that alone.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you could get you can't. If I were to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus today, the only way I'd be able to play it is by playing it on a different platform. I couldn't play it on PlayStation.
Oh wow!
Because you know why, right? They prefer the $70 game sales over subscription cuts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if you look at Ubisoft Plus, you got the full suite on Xbox.
Yeah.
PlayStation is looking at, because see, the split is what's killing PlayStation. And when Microsoft bought Activision, I said, you know, Microsoft is going to hurt Sony soon. They're just waiting because of the fact that Microsoft isn't afraid of 12%.
No.
You look at Steam. Steam is Steam because they're taking 30% for doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then you look at Epic. Epic's charging 12. Microsoft already said they'll do 12.
Yeah.
If Microsoft takes it there, and you look at what they did with Call of Duty, they already punked Microsoft and PlayStation into taking 20 instead of 30. Yeah. Those are the things that the type of pressure that games. Yeah, they punked them. They said if you don't drop it, we're gone. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft said, okay, get down and lay down is basically what they said.
Yeah.
And so, like PlayStation is not going to take. They want those game sales over subscription cuts.
Yeah.
But look, they're going to have to figure out something. I don't know.
Yeah.
those live services, I was all in favor of that. They need a multiplayer presence, and they need a multiplayer presence that's not third party. You gotta understand, man. Epic is epic because of Fortnite, not because
100%.
of Unreal.
Yeah,
it's like that game is what put them on the map. That game is what took Tencent to the next level.
Yeah,
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and PlayStation needs that, and they've got some games going. Like, but what you find out is games like Palworld that look just like Fortnite, games like that don't cost 300, 400 million, because that's what they were going to do. They were going to, and I told y'all this. I said, we're going to find out what PlayStation Studios are really about. We've been praising them all this time for these single player movie games, these linear movie games. I said, we're going to see what they're made of when it's time for them to bring multiplayer games out. And you look at the first effort, it's gone. Because, and then if you listen to Jade Raymond, when she talks about her game, she says, well, we also have to make a game that is up to the Sony's visual standard. That's difficult.
Yeah.
You know, when you like Hellblade, if Hellblade was multiplayer, they'd have to make some compromises. This is why, like, when I heard people talking crap about Halo, it's like, dude, no, you don't compare Halo to Horizon.
Yeah.
Halo is multiplayer. Halo is also at 120 and 60 frames. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
So look, I'm rooting for Sony. I'm not a Sony fanboy by any means. I think competition is a good thing. Microsoft has all these studios, but the last thing we need for them is become derelict. So they need to be pushed just like Sony needs to be pushed. But the only problem with Sony trying to compete with Microsoft is we're talking about 3 trillion compared to 100 billion.
But I don't even look at it in sales. I look at it in the perspective that both of them are completely different companies. Like in the mindset of what they are pushing as products, bro. Like Xbox wants everyone to come to their platform and be able to enjoy whatever they want to enjoy. Like you want to play Halo for multiplayer, cool, play it. You want to play Call of Duty, play it. You want a single player aspect game, okay, well, cool. Like, you know, we got some exclusives, but we also have some of these third parties and stuff that are set up to come to Game Pass day one. You could try them out. You know, Sony is that frustrated bigger Nintendo, you know, in the perspective of like what they're pushing as their games. Like, of course there is, oh, wait a second. Yeah, I just realized what time it was. The big push is like Sony is like Nintendo, you know, like there's that rumor that has been said that not only Xbox but Sony had been laughed out of the room by Nintendo whenever they made offers and were like, hey, you know, what would you think about an acquisition? You know, that's the reason why the Nintendo PlayStation never became an actual thing, because PlayStation and Sony had their own mindset of what they wanted to do with it. Nintendo disagreed with it, and they're like, fuck it, we're not.
And PlayStation was trying to, let me find a better word. They're trying to take advantage of Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. And Nintendo was like, nope,
screw them over.
bro.
That's more along the lines of the words I was going to use, because they were taking all the, like, so much of the profit for doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing.
That was the music industry.
Yeah. That's the thing is like with Sony has great IPs. Sony has, as a big story driven game company. That's what they push across. You know, that's, you know, they have people that are on their board that are saying, listen, we have to start having a kind of a in between the lines type games now that are single player but are also multiplayer. But it's not going to work for Sony, bro. They've tried it before. You know, they've tried it. You know, they've got their exclusive titles before that are more single player driven games, and then they've come out with multiplayer versions of them, or like, you know, another version of the game comes out and you're like, hey, perfect fucking for instance, God of War Ascension. God of War Ascension came out and they pushed it as this, you know, oh, well, it's just as good as the other God of Wars, but we're adding multiplayer in it. You know, why? Why was it ever added? You know, like multiplayer in Last of Us. It's a little fun, but why are we adding that into that type of game? Come
They
up
need
with
their games to
something.
be stickier. They need the games to be in the gamer's conscience for longer. Look at how fast Spider-Man went away.
They got to come up with something different though, bro. Like Microsoft has done that on a constant basis with Halo Infinite. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Is like they have to come up with something that is more multiplayer based, and they have the companies that can do it, but they've just got to understand, like, stop trying to have this competition with Microsoft, because it's not competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need the competition
with Microsoft. Because look, if you make a multiplayer game, right, and people like back in the day, that's not good enough anymore to have people playing your games for 4 years, right?
No,
they need more money out of you. That was one thing. But the more people that are playing a game over a longer period of time, the more people that are going to have interest in the game over time. So if The Last of Us is gone in a weekend, but if Factions is a hit, then more people are playing Factions, and people are looking at their friends list, and they're seeing people playing Factions, and they're like, "Oh, let me try Last of Us." But if they stop playing it in a week, it's gone from the consciousness.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why what's safer than a known IP. This is why we see 20 million Mario games. This is why we see The Last of Us around the world, or not The Last of Us, Assassin's Creed around the world. This is why Prince of Persia comes back. Because, like, if they would have called it something else and it was the same great 2D side scroller Metroidvania, do you think it would have the same interest that it has now? We all know, we like us old geezers know Prince of Persia.
And they call it Prince of Persia, and you don't even play as the prince. But that's not a problem at all, right?
Yeah.
But
it's a really fun game. Yeah. It's a really fun game. But tell me why we even had somebody on our site reviewing the game early, and I was thinking, man, I'm so excited to play Lost Crown. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like, side scrolling, kind of classic Prince of Persia, blah 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 blah. And then I'm like getting into the game, and I'm like, hold the fuck up, wait a second, like
it's a Metroidvania,
like. So like the prince from Sands of Time isn't even in the fucking game. Like, I didn't even realize that until I'm like,
they couldn't introduce this new woke guy that everybody's upset with if it was the prince.
Right. Right.
But look, I know I've been on a tangent, but
this is what we do, man. You're at home.
But look, Techno's over there watering at the mouth. I'm guessing he wants Raising Cane's.
Oh no! That's me. The kids are look.
Okay.
Sometimes we go this long, but like normally my kids they've already eaten, but I just woke up. Like I woke up just on time for the show. So
you're like, I'm fucking starving.
It was great. It was great having you on, man. You had some great points, man. Especially like being a part-time pony too. Like, we're all like Xbox here, so it's like to get some kind of contrast.
Yeah, he's a smart pony now. He could get his points out. He's well spoken, where others are just mad and just.
He's the type of guy that you have fun talking gaming with, bro.
Yeah,
this is like the kind of wars that I'm used to as a kid. Like, I didn't fight or disrespect any of my buddies who had Nintendos. We just
that's why I stay off. That's why most of the times I just post here and there on Twitter. Like, hey, bro, you get on Twitter and my God, bro, you see some of these people like they're getting into some crazy shit.
Yeah,
on
they
Twitter,
get mad.
Like, huge arguments, man. But listen, I'm a Sony fan, just like I am a Dallas Cowboy fan, man.
Oh hell no!
Listen, I know the Cowboys are never gonna listen. The Cowboys are never going back to the Super Bowl. As long like we got a different version of Jim Ryan. His name is
bro. Honestly, I felt bad for Jerry, man. Like I wouldn't have minded. Like it's them or who's the other guy Lamar Jackson that I wouldn't mind seeing get one. Because my team, we got there, but I knew we weren't going to do much there.
Listen, hey, bro, I want to see a Super Bowl between the Detroit Lions and the Ravens. That's what I want to see, bro. I think that would be I would think it would be a great Super Bowl. But I'm just telling you right now, listen, the man came from right down the road from me in White House, Texas. But I hate saying it, but the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get destroyed by the Ravens that's coming up. I'm telling you.
Well,
Jackson is gonna. I'm telling you, man.
That defense is for real, man. It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really good game.
The Chiefs have a good defense this year, and their offense is trash.
Hey, I appreciate that comment right there, man. It's all about gaming, bro. I don't give a shit what console we're playing. I'll go back and I got actually just I know we got to end it, but we were talking about Sony or the Nintendo fans getting upset about the about the different handhelds and shit.
Yeah.
I just ordered me one of those Amberneck 505s the other day from TikTok. So
is that $2,000 one?
No, the Amberneck 505, it's that one. It's like, I think it was $399 is what I paid for it with the size and everything. And it comes with like 30,000 games on it. And,
okay. Yeah. But it's preloaded and stuff with the ROM.
Preloaded on the SD card and all that stuff. So,
there's two different ones that I wanted to buy. The RG30, the one that's like more of a vertical screen.
Oh, now you got them started.
Right? You can play a lot of vertical games. And then there was another one that looked like a Saturn controller. But it's not good enough to play Saturn games. I would have bought both of those, but I didn't.
Yeah, I got the 505 because like you could play like some of the like old school like PC games on it. There's a port aspect on it and all kinds of stuff. So but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys letting me come on, man. It was a great podcast. Yeah.
No, it's fun. It was fun. Yeah. Plus, I get to hear a new voice other than these two boring ones right here that I get to hear every week.
Anytime y'all want me back on, y'all just let me know, man.
Yeah. I'll ping him, man. So where can they find you?
You can find me like in the link right here. You can find me on Twitter at S0LAB. You do the Second Opinion Pro as well. The main amount of stuff that I usually post on now as well is Cinelinks.com. I'm going to be having my Tekken 8 review up, I think, on Sunday. And then you got to keep your eyes open for my Skull and Bones review, which is going to be coming out as well. I'm really excited to share some thoughts on that. So, I'll put I've had the great opportunity of doing some of these amazing reviews. My biggest and coming from a halftime Sony fan, one of my biggest joys is the amazing relationship that I have with the people over at Bethesda. I've been a huge Bethesda fan my whole life. But there's two things. If you go to the Starfield trailer and go to the Accolades trailer or the launch trailer and you look for Cinelinks, my review got featured in there. Nice, and also, if you go on Game Pass and you download Doom Eternal and you play all the way through the game and get to the credits, you'll see my face in there. So I had an awesome. Cool. Yeah, that was a huge thing. I had a friend of mine call me. He's like, "Bro, your fucking face is in Doom Eternal." I was like, "What?" I was like, "You gotta be kidding me, bro!"
Wait, you didn't know this?
I did not know. I had no clue. They didn't let me know. But I took a picture with the dev team whenever we presented them an award at E3 2019, and my friend called me and was like, "Bro, I just beat the game, and your face is in the fucking game." I was like, "You gotta be shitting me."
Hey, so let me ask you something because I'm going to Canes for real now. All right, and shout out to the chat. I'm on my way out, but I got a question. Your early impressions. So is it a buy? Skull and Bones.
I can't say.
You can't say it's a buy or no?
I can't. No,
is it still too early?
Yeah, non-disclosure.
To say anything.
NBA,
okay. All right.
Yeah. But I will say this.
It was a good show, bro. Hey, look, I ain't trying to cut you off, but I am. I'm going. I gotta go. Hey, it was a great show, and I hope you come back soon.
Really awesome.
Shout out to the chat. And you guys, I'm out, y'all.
All right, man. Take care. Real
fun, bro.
But I will say, man, I do appreciate y'all having me on. It was awesome.
Great time.
It was awesome.
Great
Techno, I'm so sorry for getting on. I know you said this is how the show is, but bro, I feel like there were so many times that I just kept talking, and I look over there and Techno's just like listening. I'm like, oh,
no, I love it. That's how it goes, man. There are times that I don't even say a word. These two clowns, they just take over. And I'm like, all right. And by the time anybody hears me, it's like, all right, guys, time to go. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was a great podcast, bro. And I'm gonna share it over on Cinelinks.com and get those people to tune into it as well. So I'd love to have y'all on my podcast, and I'll get y'all on there with some other Xbox fans, and we could hit it up and talk some crazy shit. So
cool. Sounds good, man. Well,
all right, man. I'm gonna go eat me some way too late dinner, and
Damn, are we that old that was like 9:30s late now?
Hey, listen, bro. Over the last week and a half, my kids have been in bed at 7 o'clock every single night to make sure they get up on time to get in that bus. So
Nice.
I've been going to bed early.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
All right,
I
guys.
just want to make sure right quick before we go.
Yeah.
So on my YouTube channel, I just put up an unboxing of the 8-bit Dual M30 controller that I've been talking
Oh,
about.
did you?
I finally got it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I finally got it
Awesome.
on Saturday, so it's on my YouTube page. You'll see the green logo there and whatnot. So yeah, check out. It's just a quick unboxing, but I plan to do another video for the original version because I works on the Switch and it's Bluetooth, and so a lot of people were asking, is there a PlayStation version? No, but there is a Switch version because the original version works on the Switch, it's Bluetooth, stuff like that. So I'll definitely be doing a video about that real quick.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out, bro. You got to send me send me the link to your YouTube.
All right, and I'll pop in the chat for you right here.
Okay, awesome.
And private. Everybody.
All right.
All right, guys. Chat, thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back here next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, as we always are.
Eastern
And-
God time.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern if you're on the East Coast. And we'll just say goodnight and have a good weekend. Bye.
Peace.
Good night. Peace.